Everybody, it is the Mike Missanelli Show on the air. And today we got to talk about that Phillies game of last night. But the bigger picture of where the Phillies are right now, they're starting to drop in the power rankings. The Phillies have a problem suddenly. There are a lot of outs in this lineup. There are guys that really can't get clutch hits. They can't execute little things to plate runs. Last night, we know the story was 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position, but we also ran the course last night of Taijuan Walker. You know, it was a matter of time. Now, he pitched well in most of the innings he pitched last night. However, he had a disastrous second inning, which let the Giants back in the game and made them take the lead, and they coasted from that point on. So we knew it was inevitable that he couldn't hold it up. But when you look at the game last night, you go, oof, they're not playing with any connection in the lineup. You know, there's a lot of guys that are trying to find themselves. And so if one guy is hot, and there really is only one guy, and that's Castellanos, the rest of the guys aren't putting together good enough at-bats to play some runs. And when you get guys on base, the necessity to get the big hit becomes even stronger. If you're not taking advantage of opportunities, you got to take advantage of the opportunity it presents you, because you're not going to get many more because you're not hitting. So it's an ugly situation right now for the Phillies as they start losing 2 straight series, and they lose the first game to the San Francisco Giants, who are a pretty good team, pretty good bash team. Giants hit some home runs last night. But let me welcome in my compadres. Bill Colarulo, Ray Dunn are here with me. So, Billy, did Phil suddenly have a problem here?
Yeah, what's up, Mike? I don't know if it's suddenly. I mean, it seems like this has been something that has been over the last couple of weeks, and even coming in from the offseason, is we knew that there was potential, that they didn't have enough bats in the outfield. But look, here's what's bothering me. I know we're all focused on the lack of production with runners in scoring position. They were 1 for 11 yesterday. You look at them on the season, they're hitting 199 with runners in scoring position, which is 26th in Major League Baseball. In the last of seven games, they're hitting 130, which is just terrible. But we're focused on Johan Rojas and Brandon Marsh and Alec Bohm, and I understand it, and Rob Thompson, Dave Dombrowski. I get all of the criticism for those guys. What about Bryce Harper, man? What about Trey Turner? What about JT Realmuto? Now, these are 3 guys that are supposed to be leaders and stars on this team. Harper's hitting 246 with only 5 ribbies. Turner's hitting 236 with only 4 ribbies. And JT Realmuto is hitting 222 with 3 RBIs this year. So I get all of the criticism towards Dombrowski and Rob Thompson. I understand it. I've been critical of both of them in the past. The stars got to show up, Mike.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that, Billy. Here's the way. Look, I don't worry about Harper. I think he'll come around. I'm worried that Turner's not the same hitter that he was. He doesn't really. He doesn't have a presence in there anymore. He used to have a presence. He used to, Trey Turner used to be a pretty solid hitter, and people were afraid to pitch to him. But he doesn't look. He looks like he's lost a little swag when it comes to that. And Real Muto is, he's reached the age where I don't know if he's an offensive threat anymore.
He doesn't look it. I mean, he certainly doesn't look it. I was looking, too. I think his slugging percentage is ridiculous this year. So he's hitting 222, but his slug is only 289.
Yeah, we're coming to the end of the JT Realmuto's type of thing. It's a shame because catchers get wrung out pretty quickly. He looks like he's getting a little wrung out, not necessarily defensively. But offensively he is. You're right. Those 3 guys have not produced. But you run into outs in this lineup. It's like one guy gets a plate appearance, next guy doesn't give you a threat, and that's the way it's looking down as you go down the lineup. Listen, they're still a good team. I think they'll pick it up, but some things happened last night in the game that were a little questionable, and we go to the big circumstance a lot of people were talking about this morning, the Phillies 7th. Where Realmuto gets called out with 2 on a really bad call. Sometimes a tantrum helps. And I think Realmuto should have got thrown out of that game there. I think he should have really been in that guy's shorts. Randazzo was horrible all night. And when that pitch, when he calls that pitch a strike, you got to make a point there. And I think Realmuto should have made a point. And then I think Thompson should have made a point by coming out, protecting his player, and also getting tossed. And maybe something like that interjects some energy into you.
Yeah, you and I, we're eye to eye on this one. I mean, I looked at it and I'm thinking, all right, if that's Johan Rojas at the plate and the ump makes a terrible call like that, I'm not saying Rob Thompson should come out and get ejected. But when it's JT Realmuto, a guy who, one, never complains, but's also behind the plate all night with that guy, and you see how he reacts in that moment where it really could have been a swing. I know they were down, what was it, 8-4 at that point. You would have had bases loaded, 2 outs. I mean, I think who would have been up at the plate? Kepler, so who knows what would have happened after. But I agree with you. I think Rob Thompson has to stick up for JT there, and then more importantly, even if it doesn't help you last night, maybe it injects some energy so when they come back to the ballpark today, they're feeling a little bit of a certain way with their manager getting ejected. He did nothing, Mike.
No.
So Thompson does nothing, and then when they come out of the commercial,
The light thing.
yeah, he's out. I'm like, all right, good.
He's talking about the light thing.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I thought he was getting on the umpire.
Exactly. Oh, no, they're just looking at the lights. The lights are out. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I thought, all right, Rob Thompson came out during the commercial break. Nah. So look at you coming around on topper, man. You want a little more fire
I don't
from
know.
him.
I saw that situation last night. That's a preposterous strike 3. And it ruins a rally. There's a guy in scoring position there. So if I'm JT, I'm out of my mind. Now, he never gets out of his mind. I mean, I don't know why. That certainly was another. Remember when Bryce Harper got that check swing strike and went crazy?
Yes.
Like, there are certain things that you need to go crazy on.
You got to do it sometime.
And that guy should have been made an example of, that umpire who was missing balls and strikes all night. And if you get thrown out, so what? It's late in the game. Marchand could catch the rest of the game. And then if you're Thompson and your guy gets thrown out, you have a responsibility also to get thrown out. And I know people think that's silly in baseball, but sometimes that's effective. And when you're getting drummed in the strike zone all night, and when you're frustrated, not driving runners in scoring position, you got to go crazy.
You know, the sad reality, too, was he missed a 3-run home run by like an inch.
Yeah.
Right before that. I mean, I'm getting on JT saying his slugging percentage is down. He's only got 3 ribbies on the year. He almost had 3 with 1 swing of the bat.
Yeah.
He missed it.
Yeah.
By very little.
And then he gets punched out on a bad call. There's nothing more frustrating than that when it's horrendous. It's a horrendous call. It's not like even you can't even give the guy the benefit of the doubt. It's a horrendous call or an umpire not paying attention to the damn strike zone, and that would make me nuts. And it should have made JT nuts, and it should have made Rob Thompson nuts. I agree. What would it have done? I don't know, but it should have happened. All right, we'll take a break. We're going to go over this game in the innings that doomed the Phillies last night as they lose another game. They lose to the San Francisco Giants, who were right behind them in the power rankings. The news power rankings came out. The Phillies are 4th. The Giants are 5th. The Giants aren't a bad team all of a sudden. We don't pay attention to
Very good
the
team,
Giants.
right?
We pay attention mostly to the Dodgers out that way. But the Padres and the Giants and the Diamondbacks, you got to start paying attention. That West Coast has some good squads. Here's how you get in. 610-632-0975. 610-632-0975. We'll take your texts. We'll take your calls. Your opinion on last night. Should have both of them gotten thrown out of the game? Should both of them made a statement last night with that umpire? I say yes. What say you? It's the Mike Missanelli Show. We continue.
Sixers press.
7-5 the Fanatic. So if you're JT Real Muto in that particular situation, the first thing you do, he grabbed the helmet, took it off. The first thing you do is you grab the helmet, take it off, and you slam that bitch. All right? Because that's going to get you thrown out of the game. You slam equipment in front of him. You're showing him up. Boom, you're going to get tossed. Then you go at him. Then you go back at him and you go, that's a horrible GD call. You've been horse bleep all night. I know because I've been back there all night. The first thing you should do after this game is review every one of your calls because they've been terrible all night. We're trying to win a game here in front of our hometown crowd. My manager expects the greatest performance out of all of us. Your boss should expect the best performance out of you. And tonight you didn't have it. I'd be all up in him.
I agree with you. And then what would Rob Thompson have done? Stayed there picking his nails on the
Rob Thompson should then come out. His player's been evicted and say the same thing. You've been horse bleep all night. We've been talking about it in the dugout all night. I don't know if you're having a bad night tonight or not, but you're not even close to being accurate. I'll be all over that guy. Then he gets tossed. Boom. But you make that statement. And then maybe that guy goes, maybe I'll look at this. Maybe they're right. And then maybe the bosses go, yo, Holmes, we've been watching it too. You were horrible all night.
Yeah, I was looking to see when was the last time Topper actually got ejected. Looks like June 16th of last year. Oh, I remember that against the Orioles. Yeah, he's got to stick up for his player.
Well, he only sticks up his player. His player gets thrown out. The player has the first responsibility.
Yeah, but I think.
What do you want to keep him in the game? Is it that important at that stage? No, you're going to stay in the game?
Not in the seventh, but I think JT reacting the way he did is a major reaction from a guy like JT Realmuto. He doesn't usually show that much emotion. So him reacting the way he did, I think Rob Thompson's got to immediately run out of the dugout, and the camera panned to him. Dude, he wasn't even saying anything. Like, he wasn't even jawing back.
He's not a guy who says anything. So the only time he'll say something is to protect one of his players. If his player gets thrown out of the game, then he'll say something. That's what I'm saying. They go hand in hand, Bill.
But you really think that Thompson needed to see Realmuto get thrown out for him to come out of a dugout of that situation?
No, normally no. But since he is of a certain personality, what first had to happen to trigger Thompson to come out is JT getting thrown out because that's his boy. JT gets thrown out. Guess what? He's coming out there. That's his boy, JT.
See, I thought we're both in agreement that Topper should have done something, but I don't think it should have required JT getting thrown out.
Whether it required it or not, if you're JT, don't you have to get thrown out there? Don't you have to do more than what you did?
No, I don't. JT's reaction to me is fine.
But the reaction wasn't hard enough.
But I think the manager, that's the reason the manager's got to come out.
But I don't understand why you're absolving JT. Why would you absolve him? The call was made on JT.
And I thought he showed emotion, and now it's up to the manager to come out and stick up for his player. Look, I mean,
you just hate Thompson. You just hate you hate Thompson.
I actually have given Rob Thompson credit this year. I think he's managing with a little bit more urgency. Now, he didn't last night. We haven't talked about the decision he made. You could look at the fourth. You could look at the sixth. Not pinch hitting for Rojas.
Let's get Ray in here. Ray, you saw that situation last night. That call was made on JT Realmuto. If that's me in there, I go freaking crazy that he punched me out on a call like that, which is a foot outside.
Yeah, you do. But you're expecting a firecracker out of a candle here. Like, you're expecting the reaction of someone that Rob Thompson's not. And, like, that goes bigger to the personality you want in your manager. In that instance, yes, you, me, Bill, probably all out there and screaming right in the umpire's face. Because...
Are you talking about Thompson or JT?
Thompson.
Okay, so
but what about JT? You think he had to get thrown out?
JT. I'm talking about JT here.
In the JT portion of all of this, I was surprised he didn't get thrown out. The only rationale I could bring to myself is he had the thought of, hey, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I've got an umpire that has it out for me and would have it out for my pitcher at some point. And that he gave himself that restraint because he thought about the other side of the field and thought about the other side of his team.
However, it's the seventh inning. And I go, I'm not worried about his feelings at that point, whether he's going to get me later. The seventh inning, I'm getting tossed out of the game. And the next time he's behind home plate, I mean, who knows when that's going to be, I'll make amends then.
Yeah, but you could also go the other side. It's the seventh inning. Like, it's already over. Like, this moment's already passed. We've already gone past. He's already made the call. I'm not changing his mind in this moment. And I'm sure that umpire, when he goes back and looks at it later on that night, that's not one he's going to be proud of. Like, I don't know how much you're driving home the force. Again, if I was JT in that scenario, I could tell you I would have lost it. If I was Rob Thompson, I would have lost it. I think we're expecting different personalities, though, out of those two people.
That's what I'm saying. If Rob Thompson doesn't have that personality, JT had the helmet off. He took the helmet off. The next step is slam the bastard. Slam the helmet. You took it off. What stopped you from slamming it at that point?
Oh, listen, I'm right there with you. If it was up to me, Adam the Bat Boy would be picking up pieces of that helmet all over the field.
Thompson sees his boy getting tossed, then Thompson comes out and does what he has to do.
Yeah, but I think by qualifying it that way, you're giving a little bit of an out to Thompson.
I'm not giving him an out.
Thompson's got to come out regardless of what JT does.
All my comments are logic. You have to put all the circumstance in. Yes. Would I want Rob Thompson to come flying out of that dugout after that call and get tossed? Yes. He's not going to do it. But he would have done it if JT got thrown out.
Yeah, but that's my problem with it. So you're basically saying that
put a chip in his brain?
No, but he's
a certain type of guy.
Yeah, but you're saying that Rob Thompson's a certain type of guy, so JT has to get thrown out to get a reaction out of Thompson.
I'm not saying he has to. I'm saying that would have been better.
But I'm telling you that JT's also a certain type of guy. So JT reacting the way he reacted, to me, was enough where Rob Thompson should say, yeah, that's my boy. He usually doesn't react that way. I got to come out. I don't think JT had to get thrown out.
You're absolving JT, and you hate Thompson, and that's what you.
I don't hate Rob Thompson.
You hate him. You got an edge.
I don't hate Rob Thompson. And I've said, I think.
Right, see, you have an edge?
A little bit of an edge.
Well, a little bit of an edge.
Here's the issue, though.
Go ahead.
And I've been critical of Rob Thompson in the past. But at this point, I'm not sure how much of this is on Rob Thompson, though. Like, we've talked about this before. Like, the manager can only do so much. And I've been critical of Rob Thompson. I will be if I think it's warranted. But right now, I mean, guy's got to hit, Mike. Guy's got to hit. That's not on Rob.
Nobody's blaming Rob Thompson for the loss. It's like, let's go to your beloved sport. When you're getting your ass kicked by somebody, you take a piece of their hide as you're going off the ice.
No, I get it, but what I'm saying is you're telling me I hate Rob Thompson.
No,
I'm not even blaming Rob Thompson for what you're seeing this season.
You got a little bit of an edge. Right away, it's Rob Thompson's total responsibility, and JT's absolved.
It is.
It's because you're anti-Rob.
No, this is based off of who the player is.
A little bit anti-Rob. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies lose again. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Natural Lawn of America. Get free seeding every year. Call 800-FREE-SEED now. The Phillies fell 10-4 to the Giants last night in the first of a four-game set against San Francisco. They had a promising start, leading 3-0 after the first inning, but Tyler Walker led 6 runs in that second inning. Nick Castellanos had a solo shot for the Phillies' sole offensive output after the first inning. Postgame, Rob Thompson was asked about the offensive struggles.
Haven't played our best baseball, that's for sure. And we need to get better, and we will. I mean, we've got a good club, so I'm not sure exactly why, but we haven't hit as much as we normally do, but that will change.
They're back at it tonight against the Giants with Jesus Luzardo on the mound against Justin Verlander for San Francisco. Flyers return to the ice tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets, their final home game of the season. You can catch the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic with pregame coverage beginning at 6:30. We're less than 10 days away from the NFL Draft, and tomorrow our own Andrew DeCecco will host a draft special at 6 o'clock right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is also brought to you by Discover. Discover wants everyone to feel special. That's why they double all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card. I'm Ray Dunn on your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Day after next, your NFL draft we'll touch on a little bit today. Looking forward to our draft special. Where will the Eagles go? Will they go with the best player available? Will they draft by need? Will they take a tight end with their first pick? Which they may. They may have to take that tight end. There's going to be a couple that are going to be there. In the meantime, let's look back at the Phillies game. 1 for 11 in runners in scoring position. Let's just look over some of the moments of the game. All right, Taijuan Walker, he gets out of the first inning, and then he gets another out in the second. Meanwhile, the Phillies in the bottom of the first jump on the Giants starter with some shoddy play by the Giants, and they get 3-0 lead. All good, right? Taijuan gets the first out of the second inning, and then Ramos doubles to left. And then he walks Wade. And then Fleury smashes a single to center. That gets 1 run back. It's 3-1. Bailey then hits a chopper. Taijuan throws it into center field with an off-balance throw, which could have been a double play ball. Run scores. It's now 3-2. And Fitzgerald, the second baseman, I like that kid, had a night. Bang! 3-run bomb makes it 5-3. Mike Yastrzemski strikes out. Who's Mike's grandfather, Bill?
Former Red Sox.
Former Red Sox who?
Ray, you got this one? This is a general knowledge Tuesday.
No, I want to see you get out of this one, Bill.
We were talking about it. We were talking about it during the break because Mike brought it up and asked me if I knew who he was.
Bill has no idea who Carl Yastrzemski was. So, but it's the grandson of the great Carl Yastrzemski, and then Willie Adames home run off of Taijuan. Not a good inning for Ty. 6-3, and basically that was all that happened. Now the Phil's in the fourth inning. Get some runners in scoring position. Kepler gets an infield hit. Boom, your boy. Doubles. Smashed it off the wall. Second and third, nobody out, and they don't score. Why? Who's up next, Bill?
Your buddy, Johan Rojas.
You wanted to play him. Oh, you got to play Rojas.
All he's got to do is make contact.
Can't play Marsh in there.
Just don't strike out
in there.
All he had to do was not strike out.
Strikes out. Stott flies out. Turner hits a chopper to the pitcher. He's out. No runs scored in that inning. That's hard to believe. Meanwhile, in the Phil's fifth, Cassidy hits the home run, towering the majestic drive. And in the Phil's sixth, leadoff double. Bohm moves from the third with a productive out, Bill. Runner on third base. 1 out. Who's up?
Once again, Johan
Rojas strikes out on a slider. Stott flies out. That's the end of that rally. Phil seventh, the real mood okay, with 2 on a bad call. And we've already talked about what should have happened there. It did not happen. They limp into the night with an L. What's the text board saying, Ray?
Techsport's not happy, and especially with the reaction to the JT strikeout. Both Thompson and JT should have been thrown out of that game last night from Joe in the Northeast. We got another unnamed texter in Jersey. Let me get this straight, Mike. You have a problem with JT not having a crazy reaction, but don't give a crap that Thompson had 0 reaction. What are you talking about? I don't want to hear it, Mike. All you do is blindly defend Thompson.
Where did you hear me say that I was okay with no reaction from Thompson? You're not even listening to the damn show. I said Thompson had a responsibility to go out there and get thrown out. I also said that JT had a responsibility to get thrown out. I don't know what you're listening to, my man, but you better listen harder next time before you criticize.
Yeah, what you said, let's clarify here, is you're saying that JT, knowing that Rob Thompson's not an emotional manager.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what you said in the first segment.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
Well, then clarify, because that's how it came off.
I am saying that Thompson surely would have come out if JT had gotten thrown out. I didn't say JT had the responsibility to get Thompson to come out there. He should have had that responsibility on his own. But the catcher, who got the bad call, should have gone crazy on that umpire, who was missing balls all night. That's what I said. You hear that clearly?
All right, so you're agreeing. Let's lay this out. Rob Thompson should have been ejected.
Yes.
Regardless of what JT did.
Absolutely, he should have gone out there.
All right, so the text people can relax. Because the way it came off to me, too, was that you were putting it on JT, saying because he didn't react to get thrown out.
I'm not putting it on JT. I'm saying JT also had the responsibility of getting tossed. Both of them had the responsibility of getting tossed. And if the only thing that would get Rob Thompson tossed is JT getting tossed, then maybe that's what should have happened. I am not taking any liberties at all with Rob Thompson's milquetoast reaction to that. He should have been in that guy's ass.
So Neil Deaver on YouTube is saying that the reason JT doesn't get thrown out, tell me if you agree with this, is he has a certain level of respect for umpires that goes farther than the rest of the players. It's probably why the ump didn't throw him out and why JT didn't go ballistic. It's Topper's
have a
job.
respect for umpires. He does it because he's protecting his pitching staff to not get on umpires who will get their red ass and hold it against them. All good catchers don't want to cause controversy with umpires. In that situation, he was an offensive player who got shafted by a horrendous call. At that point, you make a statement.
Yeah, I disagree with you, though. I just think that what JT did was enough coming from a guy like JT. To him, that's going ballistic. Rob Thompson's got to come out. He's got to come out, and then we're not even having this discussion about why didn't JT get thrown out, too.
What is – I don't understand you. What is this protection of JT? He's got the helmet already off his head. Throw it! Pound it into the ground. What's the difference?
It's just not the type of guy he is.
Oh, it's not the type of guy he is. But Rob Thompson, the type of guy he is.
Yeah, it's up to the manager.
But you want him to react.
Yes, because it's up to the manager to protect his player. I don't need JT to get thrown out. I need the manager to get thrown out.
You're spitting spaghetti out of both sides of your mouth here.
I need the manager to realize, wow.
You have an inherent hate for Rob Thompson.
I don't like some of the ways he acts. And yesterday was a microcosm of who he is as a manager. He's always going to stay calm. He's never going to yell.
Why can't you say that both of them should have gone crazy and gotten thrown out? Why can't you say that?
Because I don't need JT to get thrown out.
Why not?
Because
What's the difference at that point? The bottom of the seventh, the last out in the bottom of the seventh inning. What is the point of staying in the game?
It's not. I don't need this is why the manager comes out and protects his player, isn't it? Isn't that the whole point? Like, if JT goes nuts and he gets thrown out, I just don't understand what the purpose is. It's the manager that's got to protect his player.
The purpose is you're making this statement because you just got hosed. That's the purpose. You're the one who got hosed, not Thompson.
I don't have any problem with JT's reaction.
Because
I don't need him to throw his helmet and have a hissy fit. I need the manager to do it.
Let's get to the crux of the matter. You don't have a problem with that because you have an inherent hate for Rob Thompson.
I've actually liked the way Thompson's managed this season.
Don't start doing that now.
And you have a problem with JT because you're inherent love for Topper.
I have a problem with anybody who gets hosed like that.
Hold me
third
closer.
out in the seventh inning with runners in scoring position, and you don't get thrown out of the game and go crazy. I've seen Bryce Harper do a lot worse and get thrown out of the game. His lack of presence in the lineup hurts the Phillies more than anything. But sometimes you got to stand up for yourself.
You love Topper.
610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
The NFL Draft is right around the corner.
Missanelli Show. Let's get some people some feedback on this particular subject. Let's go to the text board first, then we got Rich from Norristown on the phone line. So let's start with some text, right? What are they saying?
We got a text. Mike, stop. JT handled it properly. He needs to sit back there with that umpire. Mistakes are made. Your youngster, Ray, is correct.
He needs to sit there, that umpire, for one more inning. Like, come on, dude. At that point of the game, yeah, in the second, third inning, you don't do it. In the seventh inning, when that guy has compiled a list of bad calls that you have sucked up, and he makes one on you, that's the time to explode to send a message.
But is there the possibility that that guy's behind the plate again in this season?
Well,
with
yes.
JT? Yeah, so you're not going to ruin that relationship.
That's
up to Thompson,
That's going to ruin the relationship. It's not going to ruin the relationship. For that particular night, you're getting it off your chest. And that umpire, once he reviews what he did, is not going to hold it against him because he can't. He knows he was wrong once he reviews that. What's next?
I agree with Mike's statement. It's JT's responsibility as a vet to make a statement. Shows how soft JT is.
He's not soft. He's overly cautious. He's certainly not soft. He's a tough guy. But that's a situation where you make a statement. It's so out of character for him that would have carried some weight. And Rendanzo would go, yeah, JT got all upset. I must have screwed that call up. And then he goes and looks at it. He goes, oh, my God, I did screw that call up. Then you're not going to hold it against him. What else?
We got a texter that just wanted to chime in on just how abysmal last night was. I don't necessarily care a ton about wins and losses in April. We came out hot as hell last year, and look what happened. What's more disturbing are the unprofessional at-bats, lack of fundamentals, and general ineptitude as pro ball players. There are re-emerging patterns from previous years, and yeah, no offense, but Harper and Turner ought to be more reliable. In general, I prefer a coach with a bit more fire and grit.
Yeah, fire and grit. That means nothing in baseball. So, but I get you. Their at-bats are starting to regress. We have this new approach that they always come into a season with. They always resort back to what they do best, which is not be patient. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's talk to Rich in Norristown. Rich, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Rich?
Good morning, Michael. It's actually at Marsville, PA. And also, good morning, Bill. And I was aiming my ire at Ray. God bless him for fielding calls.
All right, so this is this is Rich from Marsville.
Yeah,
okay.
Correct. Marsville,
gotcha.
yeah.
Not Norristown. All right.
Thank you, Mike. So, Mike, why? I don't understand how we got to this point. I agree with what the texter was saying about, repetitive. This is something that we've seen. These guys are in the line of fire. I'm expecting Topper to come out and go ballistic. I'm expecting JT to snap. And what are we losing? Who's it hurting? What is the downfall of going nuts and saying no? That pitch was so far outside. The count was again. Your umps make bad calls, right? So where are we going with this whole thing? That's where I'm at.
Well, listen. Normally, I say ignore officials' decisions and umpires. But last night, the Phillies are trying to fight to win a game, right? And they got runners in score. That's an important at-bat in the game. And that guy jaked it, that umpire. At that point, you got to let him know because all the other umpires are seeing the same thing. And when they review it, all in their mind, they go, man, my boy Randazzo had a bad night. So maybe that projects that you get maybe some favorable calls the next night. Because it was so egregious that you send that kind of message, and those umpires go, "Wow, JT doesn't say boo if he had a mouthful of it, and he's all upset there. You're getting thrown out of the game. Well, it must have been a bad call."
All right, Mike. Let's talk about the ripple effect real quick. Okay, just give me a second. How many eyes are on Topper? The clubhouse, the bullpen, the fans in the stadium, the people watching around the world. This dude is not even reacting. So what is that, Mike? What is that? What
you talking about Thompson not reacting?
Not reacting. I'm sorry, Rob Thompson not reacting. I apologize.
I wanted him to react. No question. He should have reacted after that last night. And I thought that it was between innings where he was reacting, and it was about the light tower. That made it worse.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that made it a trillion times worse.
Yeah, it made it worse.
Exactly, because you're and again, I'm not... even that, he didn't do anything. He didn't. I'm not seeing anything out of this dude that gives me any confidence going forward. I don't have any confidence in this dude. I don't.
Wow. You don't have any confidence in the manager or this team?
The manager. And the manager is the person that's running the ship. I have no confidence in Thompson.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for the call. I don't know what Thompson's supposed to do about guys not hitting.
Yeah, I think, and again, you tell me I hate on Thompson.
You do. You don't like
I've been critical of him when I think he deserves to be criticized, but I'm with you that the hitter's got to hit. Like, he's trying different things. I give him a lot of credit for moving the lineup around. He's not doing what he did last year, which was get complacent and just keep guys in their comfortable spots in the lineup. He's trying different things. Last night, he's got Stott leading off again, which I like. He's at least trying different things. Bohm's still in the bottom of the lineup. He's sitting Marsh. So he is trying, but what are you going to do? I think this is more on the Stars not producing, and it's also on Dave Dombrowski, like we've talked about before, because I had somebody come at me on Twitter about the fourth and the sixth inning. You highlighted Johan Rojas striking out in both chances when he's got runners on second and third, no outs in the fourth, a runner on third, one out in the sixth, saying, well, why didn't Rob Thompson pinch hit for him? But the issue is, who are you pinch hitting in that situation?
Cody Clemens.
All right, and then who takes over in center field?
Marsh.
Okay. This is exactly how
And that's the way it played out last night when Marsh went into center.
But in the ninth.
Okay.
So Rob Thompson has said, right? Mm-hmm. He wants to sit Marsh down for probably 3 days. Mm-hmm. That's how it's looking.
Yeah.
So you're not going to pinch hit for Rojas in the fourth. Too early.
Right.
The sixth inning, you probably could have made the case for it. Yeah. But now Marsh is going to have to play the seventh, eighth, and ninth. I probably would have pinch hit in the sixth, right? Is that what you would have done? You can't do it too early. You can't do it in the fourth.
Yeah, I didn't want him in the lineup in general. All right? I told you, this is not the day you bench Marsh. You don't do it now. You don't put Rojas in. You're not going to get anything from Rojas against a right-handed pitcher. Well, so what are you really doing? Give Marsh a day against a right-hander to get out of a slump. I thought that was a wrong move. It turned out to be it was a wrong move. 610-632-0975. You know why? Because Rojas stinks. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies lose again. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies fell 10-4 to the Giants last night in the first of a four-game set against San Francisco. They had a promising start, leading 3-0 after the first inning, but Taijuan Walker allowed 6 runs in the second inning. Nick Castellanos had a solo shot for the Phillies' sole offensive output after that first inning. Post-game, Rob Thompson was asked about the offensive struggles.
Haven't played our best baseball, that's for sure. And we need to get better, and we will. I mean, we've got a good club, so I'm not sure exactly why, but we haven't hit as much as we normally do, but that will change.
They're back at it again tonight against the Giants. Jesus Luzardo on the mound against Justin Verlander for San Francisco. Flyers return to the ice tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets for their final home game of the season. You catch the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic with pregame coverage beginning at 6:30. We're less than 10 days away from the NFL Draft, and tomorrow night our own Andrew DeCecco will host the draft special at 6 o'clock right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Need more data so you can stream your jam mix on loop? Switch to Straight Talk and get real unlimited data on a reliable 5G network. Straight Talk, available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. I'm Ray Dunn, your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, it's 10:56. Don't forget, coming up, the news at noon. You don't want to miss the news at noon today. And don't forget to keep your ears peeled for our Fanatic signing bonus, which we do again at 12 o'clock. We do this as our daily contest that we're doing here. It's called the Signing Bonus Contest, and the Live Casino Hotel in Philadelphia, along with 97.5 The Fanatic, presented your shot to win $1,000. Each time we'll announce a keyword. You have 25 minutes after the hour to enter it. You can do it on the contest page on the Fanatic app, the contest page on our website, of course, or you can text it to 45911. One winner gets the $1,000. Sponsored by Live Casino Hotel Philadelphia. Contest rules are on our website, 975thefanatic.com. So you still got a chance to win $1,000. You got the news at noon coming up, and we have all kinds of topics to talk about today, including the big one. The Phillies lose the game last night. Now, listen, some calls are more egregious than others, and most of the time I say they even out. But in a situation like that, where you're trying to climb uphill at a home game, and you're losing to another good team, and it's a big spot, and the guy hoses you, that's just not right. And at that point, you got to make a statement. I believe JT Realmuto should have made a bigger statement, and I think Rob Thompson should have also made a statement on that call. And I don't understand this. Well, you're going to offend an umpire, and he's going to hold it against you next time. An umpire is supposed to be professional about things. And an umpire that looks at that game, and they review all their calls, they're required to review all of that stuff after a game, especially a home plate umpire, on what he got right, what he got wrong. He's going to see he got a lot wrong last night, and he screwed that guy's at bat. And that's unforgivable in my situation here. So, JT, you should have thrown that helmet down, immediate ejection, and then gone crazy after him. And then Thompson comes out, and then he goes crazy. He gets thrown out, and that's a statement.
Now, we spoke about this during spring training when they were testing out the challenge system. I mean, at this point, what are they waiting for, man? Like, can't we just get the robo-umps? Why are we letting games get decided by human error when it's just completely avoidable with the technology that exists?
I agree. That would have been a challenge. That challenge would have been given back to JT.
And the ball, and you would have had bases loaded. 2 outs.
Situation.
Maybe things are different.
All right, let's go back to the text board, see what we got.
All right, texter from Florida here, James in Miami Beach. I agree entirely with Mike. This Phillies team needs to start acting like contenders and take it personal when the umps are making undeniably bad calls. The entire league would have noticed if they made a point that we aren't just going to lay back and accept poor judgment from the umpire. It's early in the season, so don't be afraid to send a message.
Yeah, and you know what? He's right, because that would have gone on ESPN, on their highlights. Because that would have been, here's the call. Oh, that's a strike three. Oh, and there goes JT. And that would have made a national story.
All right, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Would it have made a national story if JT reacted the exact way he reacted last night, but then out of the dugout comes Rob Thompson, turning the hat backwards, kicking across the plate?
Yeah, but not as much. Not as much as a guy, a catcher, no less, who's put up with that all game long, taking that helmet off and slamming it. That would have made a better highlight. How do you say
I just think
it's say
it's
a
on
guy
the
takes
manager.
his helmet off and slams it in front of an umpire and then gets in his grill. How do you think that would have made a national statement? Come on, you just don't want to give in. Sometimes you just don't want to give in.
I just don't think that JT has to act that way.
I know you're tired of me being right about baseball all the time,
please.
and you don't want to
Philly
give in.
baseball's been on fire lately. Tell us who we're listening to, please.
You're listening to 97.5, The Fanatic, WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station. We broadcast right here from the combative Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities.
Now, I'm going to give your buddy Rob Thompson credit, though, because I did agree with something he said last night. I know some fans probably get frustrated with this because it's almost like he's making an excuse for some of these hitters. But after the game, he said, there's 70 guys in Major League Baseball right now who are hitting below 200. And I was reading a story from Todd Zalecki, who does a great job covering the Phillies for MLB. He said there are 44 qualified hitters right now who are also hitting under 200. So it is early. And I mentioned this to you off the air as we were walking to get coffee, and we struck out. There was no coffee. But you did make a good point that may be true, but it's the approach that you're having an issue with.
Well, listen, when you're hitting $108, you're lost. So forget about how many weak hitters are on. The pitchers are ahead of the hitters. Brandon Marsh looks lost.
Yeah, Marsh, take him out.
He does. He looks lost. Rojas can't hit Major League pitching, and I don't know what the hell they're saying that I don't see. Who else is scuffling?
Well, you're looking at Stott's hitting 250.
Bohm.
Bohm's hitting 156.
Yeah, those guys are better hitters than that, and so I don't look at it like just because the whole league is not hitting, that doesn't mean those guys have a license not to hit. They look lost, both of them.
Yeah, I'm looking. The average in Major League Baseball right now is 244. So you got Turner hitting below that, Harper right around there, JT's below that, Max Kepler's below that, Bohm's below that, Marsh way below that.
Yeah, now Kepler had a good night last night. He had some good swings.
He did against a right-hander, right? Yeah. He's got to show maybe he could do it against lefties. That still doesn't answer what you do in center field.
No, it doesn't answer what the weakness of their outfield in general. And that's my point. Like last night, his only alternative was to play a guy who can't hit Major League pitching. That was his alternative, to bench a slumping guy, to put another guy in there who flat out can't hit Major League pitching.
Yeah, because even if you do the crazy idea that I said that they should do, that you hate, which is putting Sosa in left field, that still doesn't answer anything in center. Because you still got either Marsh or Rojas. Kepler can't play center. Sosa can't play center.
They're deficient. The building of this team in the outfield and the back of the pen was deficient. Now, you saw last night, all right, Ross got out clean, but Ruiz and Banks didn't get out clean last night.
Banks looks terrible.
He pitched a couple decent innings, but he gave, big mistakes. Bang. Take him yard. Boom.
Yeah, and then we'll see.
The problem from the start with this team, to me, was exactly what we just talked about. It's the lack of viable players in the outfield, especially from the right side. It's also the back end of the bullpen, or the front end of the bullpen, however you want to categorize it.
Yeah, and that's even assuming that Jordan Romano is the guy you saw the last couple outings.
Look who the Giants brought in last night.
Oh, that dude, who is it? Ricky Rodriguez? What's his name?
Yeah. Now, he wasn't that efficient, but
he wasn't last night, but he's been great this year.
He's been really efficient normally. No, he didn't give up a run, but he did give up a hit. The first batter of the game, first batter he faced gave up.
Randy Rodriguez. I called him Ricky.
Yeah, Randy Rodriguez, Miller, Rogers, the submarine ball, who gives you a completely different look. And then Doval, who used to be their closer, who hit 99 and 100 last night as a setup guy. That's a pretty good pen. They got some horses down there.
Yeah, who was it that throws that sidearm? Rogers. That's a wild looking.
I believe he's got a twin brother who's also a pitcher.
Does he pitch the same way?
Yeah,
Taylor Rogers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, there you go.
But Taylor Rogers has a normal delivery, right? He don't have that sidearm.
I think he's a left-hander, his brother.
He is.
All right.
But, yeah, that's an interesting – and the way he throws, so he's available every day because the way he throws.
Yeah.
I'd like a guy like that.
As a left-handed hitter, you should not have a problem hitting that slop that he throws. You really shouldn't. A righty, maybe, because you don't see it until late, because it's behind your back when he releases it. But a left-hander should have no problem with that slop. 82.
Well, Ruben Amaro said he had no problem hitting guys like that.
Ruben Amaro did say that last night. I'm going, really? Let's check the career.
But then he made fun of himself a little bit.
What was
because he's shorter, he said. I'm low to the ground,
is that what it was?
So I don't have to change the way I see the ball coming out of his hand.
So it was self-depro?
Kind of, yeah. Because at first, I never had a problem hitting guys like that. I'm like, oh, God, here we go.
Last night, BOGO night. Anybody take advantage of the hot doggies last night?
A lot of people still upset about Dollar Dog Night.
Nah, 2 for $5's not bad.
Nah, I won't go to a BOGO.
You won't go?
Nope.
Because they took away Dollar Dog
Principle
Night?
for Ray.
It's principle for me.
That's where he draws the line. He'll spend $12 on a beer, but not $2.50 on a hot dog.
I'll spend $17 on a beer before I spend $2.50 on a hot dog.
$2.50 for a dog is a pretty good price, right?
It's not Dollar Dog. They took Dollar Dog from me.
They took Dollar Dog because people of your ilk, your age group, are throwing them all over the field.
Not me. Not me. I didn't do it.
Big night tonight at the park, right? Jackie Robinson night, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'll be there.
Oh, you're
going to the ball game tonight?
Yeah, I am.
Where are you sitting? Is Mike going to be upset with your seats?
I think we're in left field. So I'm be sure to take the picture at like that half zoom, so it looks really, really
You
far
can't
away.
you can't take any more pictures. Once you took a picture courtside, you can't take any more pictures from far away.
Mike, I got bad news for you. Don't log on to Twitter tonight because there'll be a picture.
Oh no, Ray, you got to quit when you're ahead.
That's not who I am. I will fall behind again.
Oh man, now I got to call the Phillies. They're crying out loud.
You're going to use all your connections for Ray's tickets.
Connection.
He goes to too many games. You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that for baseball. You're
Yeah, he does. All right, so Ray, what's your night at the ballpark? What do? You get a pregame beer?
Yeah, actually, I'm going tonight with our guy Andrew DeCecco.
Oh, you and Andrew DeCecco are going.
So
to
we're going to grab a beer before the game.
Grab a beer before the game.
Wait, you're sitting together?
Yeah.
Wait a second. These are your seats?
No.
The
No.
Checos.
No, we were like, hey, let's go to a game. I haven't seen DeCecco, so.
Mike, has
Why
Ray
not?
asked you to go to a baseball game?
No.
No. Didn't ask me to go to a baseball game. Andrew DeCecco, though. Okay. Look, I love Andrew DeCecco. He's my guy. But I'm a little jealous.
I didn't know Ray and Andrew were Philly seat buddies.
I didn't know that they were closer friends than me and Ray were, but you learn something every day.
I know.
I'm happy that you have that relationship. A little jealous, though.
but Ray, you're going through the same thing. You can't ask Bill to do anything.
No.
The baby. You know.
No, you're not going to be able to use the baby as an excuse. Like, I'm the only one that uses the baby as
I
an
could
excuse.
be very clear on the reason why the two of you didn't get asked. You would have, the kids. Mike, you don't sit where I sit.
Yeah, I don't.
I can't afford the life you live.
I won't. I don't, and I won't.
Exactly. So, with all due respect to the two of you,
All right, let me ask you a
there
question.
was no ask made.
I'm going Thursday. So, buddy of mine goes, I got like his girlfriend's or his fiance's son has these 4 tickets that he's trying to get rid of for $60 a piece. Now, what's the price? What's a $60 ticket these days? Because I got news for you. I might have to call it off.
I don't
What's
think
a
you're sitting.
$60 ticket?
I don't think you're sitting in your customary seats at $60.
What's this?
Right, Ray?
You are
what's the
not going to be right
$60
behind
ticket?
home plate in the $60 tickets.
Where's the $60 ticket?
You'll be out left field.
If that's in left field, I'm calling it off.
I got bad news for your
you.
friend.
I gotta text my boy right now because he's hot and bothered about the $60. Yeah, make sure you bring your $60. Like, I might not even bring my body, much less the $60.
Wait, that's a 4:00 start too. On
4
Thursday.
o'clock start. Where's the $60 ticket? 610-632-0975 is how you get in. We'll take a break. We'll come back with your texts, your calls after this.
We want to hear from you, so text us at 610.
8:13. Mike Missanelli Show. I happen to have something interesting in front of me. Now that the Sixers season is over, you know they have announced the ticket prices, right, for next year.
Have they?
Yes, they have. So I know you'd be interested. I want you to take these down, right? Because I'm thinking that maybe you can move from the top deck to the lower level. Center court, lower level. Rows 1 to 5. What do you think the price is? Now there's two sections that are center court. So the rows 1 to 5 on either side of the sections.
Rows 1 to 5, it's probably expensive. Ray, you have a guess at this?
I have never even looked.
Bill guessed 150.
150. As in,
Well, I thought,
Per
because
game
I'm
or
looking
leader?
at my Flyers tickets from last year, but that wasn't rows 1 through 5. So rows 1 through 5 are probably going to increase it. 200 a ticket, maybe?
200 ticket? $355. $355 for rows 1 to 5. Rows 6 to 10, $311
Per ticket.
per ticket. Rows 11 to 17, $261 per ticket. And rows 18 to 23, $208 per ticket.
Oh, so you're telling me, so 311 is rows 6 through 10, right? So if you want to get 2 tickets and you got to buy 44 games probably.
41.
Yeah, but they include preseason too, don't
Oh,
they?
really?
Right? I mean, I'm thinking, like with the Flyers, I got to buy 44 tickets because there's 41 regular season, 3 preseason. Let's just say it's 44.
Yeah, now
That's $27,000.
This is a full plan now. The full plan.
Yeah, so that'd be
You
over
get-
27
a
grand.
half plan is even more. If you only get a half a plan, the rows 1 to 5 go up to $373, and then $327, and $274, and $218.
Well, here's the good news, though. If you buy a full season, it'll cost you 27 grand. But if you then sell all of them for $5 each, that'll defray the cost by about $220.
All right. The baseline rows 1 to 5, 243, 6 to 10, 208, 11 to 17, 189, rows 18 to 23, 153. So you're not getting out of there with less than 153. Now, where Ray sits, that would be called the mezzanine, Ray?
Oh, probably just the upper bowl, right?
It just says mezzanine here.
Sure, go with the mezzanine. Why
All right,
not?
so the mezzanine seats, row 1 to 3, are $102. That's not bad. 4 to 7, $84. Rows 8 to 15, $70. And so on and so forth.
That's not too bad.
No.
That's not too bad. Now, is this a major increase from last season?
I think it is.
Ray, you did renew or you did not renew? I forget what you said.
we did.
You did renew.
But I don't think we had any spike, at least from what I was told.
All right, well, So you got your first deck, and then you got your club levels, then you got your suites, and then you got the mezzanine.
Wow, that's so fancy for where I sit. Sit in the mezzanine.
You sit in the mezzanine, right?
Look at me. I'm doing well
There's
in
your
life.
ticket options for next year, Bill.
Yeah.
Get in early because they're going to have hope with the big 3 again.
Is there... I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to get you upset.
Me?
Yeah.
Going to get me upset?
So I'm going to say, is there a small chance, though? Like, is there a small
Well,
chance
when they run it back to be a contender? Is that
that
what you
if Joel... I keep going back to, I know this was a disastrous year for Joel. I get it.
See, you're like the mouse eating the cheese.
Well, I'm just
and
going
then the
back.
thing snaps over your head.
You look at what he did in the season before that. I know he gets hurt, but when he comes back against the Knicks, and in the postseason, he was still really good. Even though he was playing on basically 1.5 legs, he was still really good. So if you're able to get him a full off season, no Olympics, he comes back and he is some semblance of what he was. Not even an MVP guy, but a guy who could score, can still put up close to 30 points a game. And Maxi's better, Paul George is better, and they do in fact build around them. I mean, is there a little hope? Am I being too naive? A little hope. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but a little.
Bill.
I smell the cheese. I smell the cheese. Shit!
Did you ever read the book Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah.
Good read, Ray. You read that.
You read that book?
Correct.
It's when you're in a dilemma about making a decision and whatever. But anyway,
There's a small chance. Give me a sliver of hope.
Yeah, small chance. Yeah. That's all I can tell you.
I'm going to
There's a
start
small
now.
chance.
I'm starting on April 15th to try to convince myself to
Yeah.
get excited for October
You already
basketball.
convinced yourself.
Get
excited.
I smell the cheese.
610-632-0975. We got Chris from Bucks County on the line. We got your text. We'll get to him. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies lose again. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies fell 10-4 to the Giants last night in the first of a four-game set against San Francisco. They had a promising start, leading 3-0 after the first inning, but Taijuan Walker allowed 6 runs in the second inning, and Nick Castellanos had a solo shot for the Phillies' only offensive output following that first inning. Post-game, Rob Thompson was asked about the offensive struggles.
Haven't played our best baseball, that's for sure. And we need to get better, and we will. I mean, we've got a good club, so I'm not sure exactly why, but we haven't hit as much as we normally do, but that will change.
They're back at it tonight against the Giants with Jesus Luzardo on the mound and Justin Verlander going for San Francisco. The Flyers return to the ice tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets, their final home game of the season. You catch the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic with pregame coverage starting at 6:30. We're less than 10 days away from the NFL Draft, and tomorrow night our very own Andrew DeCecco will host a draft special at 6 o'clock right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni also scheduled to meet with the media around 1:30 today. We will carry that press live for you right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment. Revive your ride at summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 4th. I'm Ray Don in the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Union.
Show 97.5 The Fanatic, 11:25. You know, we didn't talk about this yesterday when the news story broke, but this is a friend of the program, Governor Josh Shapiro. What happened at the governor's mansion as he's doing a Passover Seder, after the Passover Seder, like 2:30 in the morning. Some maniac, unstable weirdo somehow gets into the property and throws a couple of homemade Molotov cocktails with gasoline and Heineken bottles, breaks a window, gets into the house, and detonates 3 of them. Now, my question is this. How is that possible with the state police security that's set up supposed to be protecting the house? How does that guy evade with the state police protection?
I don't get it, man. It was crazy. I was just reading it during the break, too, trying to figure out how this happened. But thank God everyone's okay.
And he's going to get charged with murder because he shot off his mouth saying, yeah, he had a hammer with him, and had he seen him, he would have bludgeoned him with a hammer because he hates Shapiro. So it's either a hate crime or just general weirdo hate, and this guy is mentally unstable trying to do something like that. But my question is, how is it possible that guy could go undetected, get in a property, break a window, go into a main portion of the house, and light it up?
Yeah, I don't get it.
What were the officers doing?
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the governor's mansion now. Like that.
It's surrounded. It's supposed to be surrounded with state police and security people.
Yeah, it should not be possible. Well, thankfully, everyone's
And then
all
the guy escapes. He goes into the night and he escapes. And the only reason they get him, he turns himself in.
Oh, he turned himself in.
They didn't catch him. He turned himself in.
Yeah, it's scary.
What Deputy Dog was in charge of that operation?
Have you talked to the Gov at all?
I have not talked to the Gov. I'll reach out and say what's up. But, man, that's some scary stuff. And significant damage, too, if you saw the damage it did.
I was reading a story this morning that Governor Shapiro inadvertently closed a door that may have saved him and his family from
would
the
have
flames.
rushed through and got into the second floor.
Yeah, it's
where they were, where they're sleeping. But there were like 30 people in the mansion at the time.
Oh, because they were doing their Passover.
Yeah, it's a Seder.
Yeah. Yeah, scary stuff.
Very weird. All right, so we're talking about the Phillies. We have not talked about your Philadelphia Eagles yet in the draft. It's not exactly on us yet. You know, we're in the speculation view, but today they're talking about the tight ends. There's a couple tight ends that are going to be there. Now, if you're not going to sign Goddard, don't you have to take a tight end?
At some point, you're going to have to take a tight end. I don't know if they'll do it at 32, but do they do it in the second round at 64? Like, you really like Harold Fannin from Bowling Green.
I like Harold Fannin a lot.
He may be there in the second round. You may not have to take him that early. Like, he's not a first-round pick.
Now, there's the kid from Michigan who's considered the number 2 tight end in the class.
Is that Loveland?
Yeah, that's a Loveland from Michigan, Colson Loveland. If he's there at 32, he has that's a bargain. Was he supposed to be taken before that?
I'm looking here. Like, Fannin, I'm seeing, has a 3rd or 4th round projection.
Yeah, a kid from Miami, Arroyo, is in the mix. Mason
Loveland.
Taylor, who is Jason Taylor's son.
Yes, Joy Taylor's
Joy
nephew.
Taylor's, yeah.
Mason Taylor is a guy that could also be there in the second round. Now, I don't know if you'd have to move up in the second round to get him, but that's Andrew DeCecco, who for some reason is going to the baseball game with Ray, and we're not. But Andrew DeCecco loves this Mason Taylor. Loves him. He says he's one of the. He thinks he's the highest rated tight end in the draft, second to Tyler Warren. But Tyler Warren's a lot older.
How big is Mason Taylor?
I think he's a big dude. Hold on.
6'5", 251. Now, Fannon's a little undersized, so maybe they would look for, because they already got Calcaterra. So maybe Fannin doesn't fit. But I thought that guy had really good ball skills. I watched him a few times this year, actually.
Yeah, good ball skills. It'll be interesting to see. And one of the age-old questions, and Andrew filled in for you on Friday that we brought up, and you mentioned this a little earlier, is do the Eagles draft best player available, which you always hear is what you should do in the draft, or do they go need? And I look at this Eagles team. Normally, I'm a big proponent, best player available. But when you look at an Eagles team who's attempting to repeat as Super Bowl champs, and they clearly have a roster that's very good, but they have some needs, I don't think you go best player available necessarily. I think certain positions you do, but you eliminate, like you're not taking a quarterback. I don't want to see them take a wide receiver at 32, even though I've seen that floated. I would not want to see them go wide receiver.
The best player available might be the position of need.
Well, that's what you got to hope.
The Goddard thing has thrown a loop into this because I really wasn't expecting that. But it looks like they are cutting ties. You need to replace him. Calcaterra, I mean, he's nice, but you need to fortify that position with a guy that's going to be your future tight end.
You're right, but at 32, I'd much rather see them go on the defensive side of the ball. Like, if one of these safeties is there, like this Malachi Starks from Georgia would make a lot of sense. A lot of people like the dude from South Carolina. I just don't know if he'll be there, that Emanwari. You got Xavier Watts, Jalen Reed. They may be there in the second round too. But I would, if you could get Malachi Starks at the bottom of the first round, that'd be awesome. If not, I'd like to see them maybe go defensive tackle because I think your defensive tackle room is a little light with letting Milton Williams go. Could they go edge rusher? Also, don't be surprised. And I know this is going to get Ray angry. Don't be surprised if they go offensive line in the first round. And yeah. I know Ray did a whole show the other day about how angry he was going to be if I don't think Ray's listening to us. Look, he hasn't looked up.
No.
Look, he's not listening.
No, I'm leaning back in my chair, annoyed. That's what I'm doing.
He's annoyed.
I'm listening.
But yeah, don't be surprised if they go offensive line.
Yeah.
Because, Mike, one of the things from last season, a lot of people know they let Mekhi Becton walk, but I think the under-the-radar loss was Fred Johnson. Mm-hmm. Fred Johnson's their swing tackle. He played, I think he started 6 or 7 games last year. You're going to need some depth along the offensive line, and they just don't have it. So if you could get an offensive lineman at 32, that could be either a swing tackle, can be Lane Johnson's replacement in a couple years. Don't be surprised if they do that.
Yeah, let me ask you this question, because you said you don't want a wide receiver. But to me, you could upgrade Dotson. And the guy who upgrades Dotson is the kid from Missouri, Luther Burden III. Tremendous slot receiver, 6 foot 206. Perfect slot man.
Luther Burden. Now, I'm looking, he's got a second round grade on him. Now, 32 is essentially like you're taking in the second round.
Yeah.
I just look at this team, and I would say that you talk about Jahan Dotson and it being an upgrade. I keep saying this. You had the 29th ranked passing offense last year. So how much is your third wide receiver going to give you anyway?
Future, brother. Future.
Well, you still got AJ and Devontae.
Yeah, but it's, future in the slot. That guy can be a slot receiver for a lot of years.
Possible. And then what are you doing with Dotson?
Yeah.
I think he's in the last year of his rookie deal anyway.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about him. And it's hard for me to say that being a Penn Stater, but he doesn't twist me.
But if you're talking about need, though, if you're on the clock at 32, you got a lot more pressing needs than wide receiver. Like, if we're getting a third slot wide receiver and there's guys like Malachi Stark still on the board, or you could get a really good defensive tackle or even an edge rusher, I'd much rather see them go that route than bring in a wide receiver. But we'll see. But you talk about, like, there's such a lack of buzz for the draft this year. And I think it's because they're picking 32. It's hard to know. Like, if you're in the top 15, you can kind of project, like, oh, this guy will be available. This guy will be available. At 32, there's like 50 guys that could potentially be there. They may trade out. They may trade up. It's too unpredictable. I think that's why people aren't as into it as they have been in previous years.
Yeah, you could be right. All right, let's go back to the text board, right? What are they saying?
All right, people jumping in on the Phillies. The big picture is the complacency of the entire Phillies team. Failure to react by both JT and or Thompson, and the passive team is the problem. Any reaction could have sparked and inspired better team baseball. This is a long season.
Yeah. All right.
As we're talking football, what do you think Sirianni would have done in that situation? I think
suspension.
Sirianni would have got suspended. Like, we get on Sirianni for being too emotional, and we get on Rob Thompson for having no emotion. Maybe they need to talk and meet somewhere in the middle. And
Different
we'll be all right.
sports, my friend.
I know. I'm
Different
kidding around.
Sports.
But Thompson needed to react. We all agree.
Yeah.
And then it compounded it by when you get out of commercial and you see him on the field thinking, all right, he is reacting, and they're just talking about the lights. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. What was Castellano doing with that umpire there between innings?
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that? And he said something into his microphone. He knew he was mic'd up. He had a conversation before he on his way to right field. You see that, Ray?
I saw him talking to the mic, which I was confused about. I don't know what he was doing. I didn't get any answer on that.
He was feeling good about himself. You can tell when Castellanos feeling good about himself.
Well, he
Right
had a
into the
great week.
seats.
He had a great weekend too.
Yeah, he had a smash last night. That was a
It was a Titanic blast, some would
a
say.
hanger, and he railed it. Yeah.
It's a Titanic blast.
Yeah, what is
That's
this
coming up at the news.
This guy.
It is.
Yeah, Ray's getting mad.
This is the second time today he's tried to just throw the news at noon before the news at noon
He
happens.
just gave a good tease for it. Though.
Yeah,
People
it's
are
a
going,
tease.
what could it possibly be? Like,
What could I mean here, Ray?
Yeah, but usually when you do it, I don't think you're about to tease. I think you're about to just drop into it.
No, we got a great news at noon coming up.
what happened to our man Chris in Bucks County? Chris, you dropped off. Come on, Chris. We're going to get to you. You know, you got to have a little patience here. We got some stuff to talk about.
Talking about patience, new system's got to be coming soon, right? New phone system.
I just looked at my my seat for Thursday. Section 114. That's not bad.
What is that?
First baseline.
You're sitting first base,
First baseline.
section 114.
14.
Oh yeah, you're okay. You're in foul ball territory over
It is
here.
foul ball territory.
Where are you sitting though? What row?
I don't know if the row's any good.
You way up there?
24.
That's not a bad view of the game though. From
Yeah.
right there. That's basically
It's
when the Phillies won the 2008 World Series when Brad Lidge struck them out. I was standing right behind, I think, section 116.
I always get to when I sit in seats like this. It's like, Mikey Miss, you don't have any clout? Oh.
Well, then you just say, look up at the 300 level. That's where my producer's at. I'm at least here.
610-632-0975. Back after this.
Andrew Salciunas.
When I saw him in the lineup yesterday going up against a left.
41, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. You know, it's funny when I've been in the South for a couple of days. When you're around people that speak with a Southern accent, you start talking with a Southern accent.
Did you?
I did.
Dropping y'alls?
I caught myself. My buddy Scott down there, he's from Louisiana originally, but now he's just in Georgia.
Was that his wife that called yesterday?
Yeah, yes. So he's always got that drawl going. And, so you pick it up. You sound like an idiot, because you're from the North, and you're talking, all of a sudden, you're talking like a Southerner.
Yeah, you sound like an idiot for other things, too, but, yeah, the Southern drawl. By the way, we were just talking about, we just mentioned Mason Taylor and Harold Fannin.
Uh-huh.
I open up my Twitter, and the Inquirer has an article, and here's the headline. Amid Dallas Goedert's uncertain future, tight end prospects Mason Taylor and Harold Fannin could intrigue the Birds.
Yeah.
You're spot on, Mikey Miss.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm literally going to fight you.
This is in his show
I'm
sheet.
literally going to fight you.
This is in,
it's not even like three bullet points
This is
in.
the story that Bill
listen.
just discovered.
I understand.
Which is in Ray's show sheet.
You don't have to show the behind the scenes. Mike said something, and I'm acting like that was Mike who didn't read the headline, and now on my Twitter from 2 minutes ago, Inquirer Sports puts it out. I don't have to be like, hey, Ray told us this morning.
No,
you don't.
The information is that Ray is assimilating the information where they're previewing certain positions heading into the draft, and this today was the story on tight ends. And but I've been talking about Harold Fannin for a while now.
I know. So Ray's getting mad like I didn't read his show sheet.
You didn't.
100%. Ray.
Obviously, you did not.
Please.
Just so you know, if you want me to tell you what I do every morning, when I wake up, I'm very regular. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I do...
You're what?
Very regular, if you know what I'm saying.
You are?
The first thing I do as my morning routine is that I open up my phone and I look at the show sheet that Ray sent, and I look at all the articles he posted. I read it every morning, Big Ray.
You didn't read this one, apparently.
I did. I was trying to give you credit, but if we're now going to eliminate that,
okay.
what I'm saying is, Mike, look, man, you mentioned Harold Fannin and Mason Taylor, and
way
look at
more
this.
believable that you didn't read the show sheet.
Yeah.
Way more believable.
I don't have the show sheet in front of me.
One of the reasons I mentioned it was because it was in Ray's show sheet.
I don't have the show sheet in front of me. I guarantee you I can tell you what it started with, what you went First thing you started with was the JT Remuto, Rob Thompson thing.
I have the advantage. I think Ray thinks that I'm an old school guy that needs everything printed out. So he prints everything out for me.
He kills so many trees for you.
Well, he does kill a lot of trees, and maybe that's my fault. And I should say, Ray, I can just call it up on the show sheet because you attach it.
Wait a second. Are you saying that Ray doesn't have to print them out?
He doesn't. He doesn't.
Ray, this is something he could have told you months ago, Ray.
Could have, but
every morning, Ray spends at least a half hour printing it, stapling it.
I was letting it flow because it's still helpful. It's still helpful to have it in front of me.
So Ray gets here. Ray gets here so early to print all those out for you.
Ray, come later. You can come later.
Ray, do you believe this?
You only print me out just a couple.
Ray, see, thank God this whole thing came up.
See, we're evolving.
You'd still be coming in every morning.
As a show. I bring my laptop in so I can punch up the stories. Wait, did you think I was incapable of punching him up?
No, I never thought that you were incapable of it. I always wondered why we were doing that.
Oh, I don't know. I guess maybe
he prints them out, he staples them, he then organizes them really nice. He layers them out on the desk.
On the level at which they approach on the show sheet.
It's tremendous prep work by Ray.
I don't have to do that anymore.
Oh, Ray's job just got so much easier.
If I can save you some time and kill less trees, I'm all for that.
I was going to say we might have to rename the part of the Amazon after us.
Yeah. I get it.
Man.
Oh,
I get it. All right,
they can use this money on the coffee budget because they have no coffee today. Should you guys see that email?
Yeah,
I guess you didn't.
I'm already on the case. I'm asking the appropriate people about the coffee. When the coffee apparently has to be shipped in today.
Yeah, we ordered it. So, you know what's frustrating? This is now me being frustrated with Ray. Not only is he taken to Checo,
did they call WB Mason?
But
yeah. So not only is he taken to Checo to the Phillies game, he does the show sheet for you, right? He prints out all the articles. Yeah. Now, you weren't here on Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, so he printed it for you?
I don't even get a show sheet.
Oh, you don't get a show sheet?
No, I don't get anything from Ray.
Well, you get
so you not only get all your articles
show
printed
sheet to both of us.
Yeah, but I'm talking Wednesday and Thursday when I hosted.
Oh.
I didn't get a show sheet. I have to put it all together.
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't Ray was riding shotgun?
Ray was sitting in
Okay,
this
so
chair.
who was the producer?
Austin was Wednesday.
Oh,
Sean was
Austin
Thursday.
didn't give you. Neither of those guys gave you a show sheet.
Well, I'm pretending to be angry. I told him not to do it. I put together the show sheet myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
But it's just, I'm calling Ray out.
Smell you, Mr.
Because
Planner.
Ray just rolls in. Nice, easy day. Wednesday, Thursday. Doesn't have to worry about a show sheet. Doesn't have to worry about printing any articles out. We're making things too easy on you here, Ray.
Yeah, I'm good. I can look at the attachments that you put on there.
Okay, listen.
Yeah, I'll save you some time.
That works. I'll probably get here at the same time anyways.
All right.
Well,
in that case, then print them. You get here at the same time. I'm trying to give you an extra half hour of sleep. You know?
All right. What's an extra half hour? So I was up at 4:40 this morning.
Doing
I was
what?
doing morning show. Nothing. Literally nothing. I anticipated having to get up, and I guess I way overshot the alarm. Because I set for 6 because a little behind the show here. I did the show sheet this morning instead of last night. Sometimes I do in the morning.
I got up at 6:30 this morning because I had an early morning BP session.
That's right, you did.
I got about 100 swings in.
I got to start getting my BP since I'm going to have to hit that 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah. Let's go to the text board. See what we got here. What's going on with the text board? What are they saying about this Phillies situation?
Charlie Manuel would have ripped that ump's skeleton out for that call. Jesse in Phillipsburg.
Well, Charlie was like, Charlie get ejected a lot. I don't even remember. He picked his spots, I think.
I am going to look it up right now.
All right, look it up. While you're looking it up, Ray, what else we got on text board?
Wow, he did get ejected a lot.
You did?
52 times in his 12-year managing career.
Well, with the Phillies, how many times, though? He was Cleveland Indian manager for a while.
I don't know how many with the Phillies, but 52 puts him 22nd all-time in Major League Baseball history.
Wow.
Good for Charlie.
All right.
Yep.
Unnamed texter here. My issue has never been the daycare kids keeping it fun and celebrating, but the buddy boy veterans who are paid well do not hold themselves accountable.
Yeah. You started looking at that. Definitely. All right, we're going to take a break. And on the other side, we got our truck driver, Reggie. Let's see where he's at today. Where in the world is Reggie from New Mexico?
Well, before you go to Reggie,
What?
we're giving away cash. We got the news at noon. That's all coming up next.
That's
too.
coming up at 12 o'clock, though, Bill. That's not coming up before Reggie. That's coming up after Reggie.
Okay, we have time for Reggie then.
Oh, yeah. Don't ruin the illusion of radio over there. Mister.
Ray, educate him on the time clock here.
That's going to take too long.
All right, Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies lose again. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. The Phillies fell 10-4 to the Giants last night in the first of a 4-game set against San Francisco. They had a promising start, leading 3-0 after the first inning, but Taijuan Walker allowed 6 runs in the second inning. Nick Castellanos had a solo shot for the Phillies' sole offensive output after that first inning. Post-game, Rob Thompson was asked about those offensive struggles.
Haven't played our best baseball, that's for sure. And we need to get better, and we will. I mean, we've got a good club, so I'm not sure exactly why, but we haven't hit as much as we normally do, but that will change.
They're back at it tonight against the Giants with Jesus Luzardo on the mound and Justin Verlander going for San Francisco. The Flyers return to the ice tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets for their final home game of the season. You catch the game right here on 97.5. The Fanatic pregame coverage beginning at 6:30. We're less than 10 days away from the NFL Draft, and tomorrow night our own Andrew DeCecco will host a draft special at 6 o'clock right here on 97.5. The Fanatic. Also today, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni will address the media at 1:30, around that time at least, and we'll carry that live for you here on the Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment. Revive your ride at summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusion supply offer ends May 4th. I'm Ray Dunn on your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
4 minutes, but before we get there, let's get to our phone lines. We're Reggie in New Mexico checking in. What's up, Reg? How you feeling today?
All right. How you doing, Mike?
Fantastic.
How you doing, Ray?
Where you at right now? Where you at?
I'm in Gallup, New Mexico, almost at the Arizona state line.
Oh, beautiful. You're doing good work.
Yeah. I'll have that adult beverage load in Las Vegas for consumption of others sometime tomorrow morning early.
Very nice. Very nice. What's on your mind today, sir?
Let me be judge of the 97.5 sports radio circuit. I'm ruling in your favor with the JT Realmuto situation.
You're ruling in my favor. I like it, Reggie. You're a wise judge.
Yes. You put facts out there, and Bill. Did I say hello to Bill? Bill, hello, Bill.
What's going on, man?
All right, Bill. I'm not ruling in favor of you in this particular one because he should have threw his helmet down. Perhaps that would have brought Rob Thompson out because the catcher, if the catcher don't know the strike zone, who would know the strike zone?
Exactly. That's the point. He
Yeah,
got completely hosed on that call, but it was going on all game. Randazzo was having a terrible night.
Yeah, and in the seventh inning, you said the final out of the seventh inning, that would have been the perfect time to do it. If he got thrown out of the game, you only got 2 more innings left. The game is already
Exactly.
over.
That's a perfect time to make the statement.
Yeah. I'm ruling in your favor.
All right, man. You're the best.
Oh,
Reggie.
have a good one.
All right, Reggie, you got it. I just wanted to call him rule in my favor.
Yeah, he's one of the few that would agree with you on this, but I'm glad that he called in. Appreciate the call, Reggie. But, look, either way, we all agree Rob Thompson should have reacted. Whether JT did anything or not, Rob Thompson should have reacted. And he didn't. And that's what's, I think, upsetting people more. I don't think anyone left. I mean, I know you brought up the point, Reggie agrees with you, but I don't think anybody left last night's game and thought, man, I'm really mad that JT didn't react more. I think what people were angry about was Rob Thompson didn't react more. No one was angry that JT didn't get thrown out. Your point is if he would have, it would have forced Rob Thompson to come out. But we all agree, Ray too, Thompson should have jumped out of the dugout.
Whoa. Ray doesn't agree.
You said Thompson should have jumped out of the dugout.
I said if I was Thompson, I would have. I said from the jump that I didn't think that that's his personality. We were expecting a firecracker
Wait, so you're
out of the
saying,
candle.
but are you okay that he didn't react?
That's who he is. That's the clubhouse he runs.
Listen, he's been thrown out of 4 games, so it's not like he can't.
Yeah, Thompson's been thrown out.
I mean, that was a complete situation where he needed to. But I also thought the guy, once the catcher takes off his helmet, what are you going to do? Are you going to spin it? Like your Globetrotters? Fire that bad boy down on the ground. Break it if you have to. And that makes the statement. And then the guy tosses you, and then you're making a statement. And then maybe you get some clout with the guy next time. Because that guy's going to see what he did. All right, anyway, it's 12 o'clock. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. You're listening to it. 97.5 The Fanatic and WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia. Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. It is 12 o'clock. Happy lunchtime to everybody. And it is time for a little something we call
the Fanatic signing bonus.
The Fanatic signing bonus. Let's hear it.
The Fanatic signing bonus.
That's right. Fanatic signing bonus. It's your chance to win $1,000. I'm about to give you a keyword. You have to enter that keyword until 25 minutes after the hour. So you got till 12:25 to do it. You enter it on the Fanatic mobile app or 975thefanatic.com or text it to the special contest short code 45911. The contest keyword for this hour is SPEND. SPEND. One random entry will win $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Each winner gets a call from Beasley. Be sure to answer your phone. The contest rules are on our website, 975thefanatic.com. The Fanatic signing bonus is sponsored by Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Voted best casino in PA by Casino Player Magazine. 5 chances to win each weekday, 8 and 10 a.m., 12 noon, 3 and 5 p.m. Good luck. All right.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yes, it is time for the news at noon, where Ray Dunn assembles 3 stories that'll amuse us or make us a little crazy. So let's start, Ray, with the Braves television broadcast from last night.
Yeah, this first one has made the internet crazy. The internet has really been polarized over this one throughout last night and earlier today. If you missed it last night, not that I expect you to be tuned into Braves television broadcast, but Wiley Ballard was out there. He's their sideline reporter, and they had him up in the Blue Jays ballpark at their, I guess it's their Corona rooftop. It's whatever sponsors their rooftop. They say it in here. And he's up there with 2 women. Begins having conversation with the fans. And this is how it went.
We're having a lot of fun up here up the Corona rooftop. Who do we got here? What's your name?
My name's Lauren.
Lawrence, all right.
And I'm Kayla.
Kayla, and you guys hang out at the rooftop lounge often?
Once a year I come out to visit.
Okay, well, we timed it pretty well. All right, good. How are you guys feeling about rooting for the Braves today?
Oof, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best.
What about you? Are you a Braves fan now?
Not quite.
Not quite. All right, I'm gonna go to work up here, guys. Good luck the rest of the way.
Okay, Wiley. You got 4 innings to get the numbers.
I'm on it. Come on.
Get us some more Braves fans.
All right, so they want me to get your number.
They want you to get my
number. I'm dead serious. They're saying in my ear right now, she doesn't believe me because she thinks you guys are not. I'm making this up. Even if you guys weren't, I might use that in the future. That's actually a pretty good move.
This is unbelievable. So the best part of this right now is that Wiley could totally be faking it. This might be the new move. Just walk around with a FanDuel microphone and an earpiece in and convince fans that they're actually on TV.
I should have thought of this years ago. I am speechless. I got the number. We're good.
Whoa, Wiley. What? I don't know who Wiley Ballard is. What's he, a younger guy? What is he?
Yeah. Younger guy.
Younger guy.
Sideline reporter, yeah.
Sideline reporter, younger guy. And who were Lauren and Kayla? Did we get a chance to see them, Ray?
They were on the broadcast.
Yeah,
yes.
and what did they look like?
Yeah, 2 attractive blonde women.
Two attractive blondes?
Yeah. And, this guy's getting a lot of heat.
Would Bill Colarulo walking around turn a head? Would these ladies turn your head?
Yeah, they were attractive. They were attractive women.
Holding back.
No, the problem
would
is...
they have turned your head? If you're Wiley Ballard and you're looking for somebody to interview, would they have turned your head?
Well, that's where the problem with this is coming right now.
I gotta look. I gotta look again because I didn't get that good of a look at them. But people are coming at this guy saying he never should have done this. Like this is becoming a controversial thing.
Get his number. Get her number.
That it was wrong. He should never have done this. It was misogynistic. Like all these things. And I thought it was just in fun. I mean, it didn't sound like it was that big of a deal to me. But there are a lot of people said it was unprofessional and that this never should happen. Don't do this. I thought it was a fun little bit. I don't know. Am I wrong here?
Yeah, it's totally unprofessional. But those guys put him up to it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not getting on that guy.
Play-by-play guys put him up to it.
They're joking with him, and
yeah.
I think no one knew where to stop the joke.
Yeah.
And I also don't know why, and this is not something that's been explained to me yet, of why that he ended up going to interview the 2 of them. Where they go up there and find fans and let's have a conversation in game.
I'm sure his motivation was maybe to go for 2 attractive ladies.
Yeah, but hold on.
It's a predominantly
we
male
talk about
audience that's watching the game, right?
Yeah, but people saying that this is unprofessional. Not this, where you're asking a girl for her number, happens all the time. But in a baseball game, being the very nature of a slow-moving game, we see funny stuff, quote-unquote, all the time. I mean, we got, like, John Kruk scaring little kids at games. Like, what are we talking about? That this was so unprofessional for him to ask the girl for her number. It was. They're joking around.
Yeah, it's unprofessional.
Was it unprofessional when Kruk scared the kid?
That's different.
It's a different bit.
This is sexist.
How is it sexist?
Misogynistic. It is.
How?
Because you're trying to get. You're on the make trying to get somebody's phone number because they're attractive. It comes off bad. If you're a sideline reporter and you're supposed to do. I understand why he went. They were attractive. He wanted to get them on camera. Boom. End of story. The numbers thing. You bail out at that point. Throw it back to.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't see it as a sexist thing.
Ray, what do you think? Would Ray Dunn have done that?
No.
Yeah.
No, not in Certainly not in that context.
Ray Dunn doesn't even let us ask him about his personal life on the radio.
But that's not the point.
Of course he would have
Ray
done.
Dunn has the edicts as a professional broadcaster.
Look, should he have done it as a sideline reporter? Is it unprofessional in that nature? Maybe. I think he was having fun. But I think the people calling it sexist is a little far.
If you're like some a morning radio not talk show, but some morning radio show where it's all about shtick, then you would do it. But not on a baseball broadcast.
Yeah, but I'm not.
You just can't give it up.
I'm saying, but to call it a sexist thing, I think is a little far.
It is.
How is it sexist?
It was sexist, first of all, that he went to the most attractive women that he could find.
Well, you're assuming that's why he went to them.
Why do you think he did?
I don't know. I don't know why he went to those girls. I have no idea. But like,
you have no idea, Bill?
I don't know what the bit was. We don't know what the context is. Do they do this every road game? Does he talk to fans every road game?
Every road game.
No, I'm saying, does he talk to fans? Is that what his job is out there?
He goes to a rooftop bar. He could have taken one of 100 people. He could have picked some guy. He could have. Why would he go with two attractive blondes?
Yeah, but
and the question of
I just don't understand it.
Yeah, but
it's
why don't you get this?
Because they were attractive, it was sexist that he talked to them. So talk to ugly people only. Because if you talk to a person you find attractive, you're sexist. I'm just thinking that we went way too far on this kid.
Also,
way too far on the kid.
If we reverse this, would it have been as acceptable for a woman in sports to have this interaction?
If that was a woman sideline reporter and she was talking to a man, no one would say that she was being sexist.
If a woman was talking to those two, she wouldn't have been sexist.
No, I'm saying if there was a joke where there was a female sideline reporter talking to a young college kid,
and the young college kid would have been the sexist,
and she said, "Can I get your number?" Would we have been saying any of this? No.
Oh, she would have gotten panned. She would get crushed for that.
But she would not have been called the sexist, misogynistic.
She would have been called unprofessional, which is where this started.
Right.
So maybe it's unprofessional. But I can't call the guy a sexist. That's what I'm saying.
No, them egging him on to get the number from the girl is slightly sexist.
All right.
Let's move on.
Move on.
All right. Taking you to another TV broadcast that you definitely were tuned into last night. Phillies. Castellanos hits the home run. We get Tom McCarthy's call. And I should remind you that yesterday was the anniversary of the Titanic hitting the iceberg. Here's Ruben Amaro's analysis of Nick Castellanos' home run.
He did not hang one to Bryce Harper, but he hung one to Nick Castellanos, and Nick did exactly what you're supposed to do with it, especially with the way that he's swinging the bat. That is a Titanic blast. Too much?
No, I think you're right on it.
Did McCarthy know what he was doing there?
Doesn't sound like McCarthy knew what he was doing.
Did they talk about the Titanic earlier in the game or something?
I don't remember mentioning the Titanic.
Then it's hard to reach out to get that.
Yeah, but
I don't keep offhand the
unless
date.
they had a conversation earlier in the game about the anniversary of Titanic. That line goes nowhere for Ruben.
No, but it actually got picked up on social media because a lot of people got the reference. That it was the anniversary of the Titanic. Castellanos, who always hits home runs when bad things happen. People got it on Twitter. You're right. It was subtle. I don't know if McCarthy got it, but it was circulating on Twitter.
That's got to be introduced earlier for that joke to land. And you can't just come out of nowhere. By the way, I like Ruben a lot. I wish Ruben would dress it up a little better on the NBC Sports Philly post-game shows.
But he usually rocks the jacket and the tie.
Go out and buy yourself some stuff. Come on.
But he's usually decked out now.
No, he's not decked out.
He's always got the really colorful patterned jackets.
He's not decked out. All right? He misses the mark. Go out, get yourself some clothes for crying out loud. All right, what's next?
All right, last one for you. Emmitt Smith went on radio down in Dallas. He was on the ticket down there, and they got into a number of conversations with him. One about the NFC Championship drought for the Cowboys, and he decided that he wanted to let everyone know he's sick of hearing two words.
Emmett, how tired do you get about people talking about the drought with the Cowboys? The 29 years, haven't been to an NFC Championship game since when you were playing?
I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of it for two reasons. One, we have allowed others to come and nitpick at the start. and make fun of the star. And that's what happens when you give other people or other organizations. Now all of a sudden, the last 20 years, they win 2 Super Bowls. They think they're the best thing on the doggone planet.
Yeah.
And everywhere I go Birds. I'm sick of hearing go Birds. I'm always asking, where you going? You still got a long way to go to catch the Elks. So.
Really? I don't know. Is there a modern era of football, and is there an era where you played in, which I can't even remember what years they were? How about you get into the modern world here, Emmett? Don't get sick and tired. Don't hate don't hate the team, hate the sport, or whatever. Whatever makes sense there.
Yo, Emmett.
Punk.
We got 2 words for you.
Yeah.
Go Birds.
610-622-0975. Back after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
I believe that Turner and Harper and Cassie, all those guys are going to
Go nicely with this song, this nice mellow song, Bill.
Nice cup of coffee.
Yeah, nice cup of coffee. However, there ain't a cup of coffee to be had in this whole building right now. We have run out of coffee. So if there's a good Samaritan out there that can provide us a couple of cups of coffee to the station and say, this is for Bill and Mike, we will be forever in your debt.
It is wild, though. Like, we have a cup of coffee every day around 11:30. When you don't have it, you feel the effects.
I don't know how I can make it to the rest of the show.
I'm not sure.
I'll be honest with you.
Ray's not as much of a coffee guy as we are. You have the one in the morning, that's it?
I usually have another one after I get out of here.
Yeah, so I do the morning, then I do the one around 11, and then after the show's over, I go and get a latte.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do a latte from Starbucks.
You're,
it's like
you're
my
a
thing.
Three coffee man?
I am. I do the big Starbucks coffee in the morning. Then I do the coffee we have together, the highlight of my day, you and I, when we walk down there together to get it. And then I do the Starbucks latte. Little almond milk latte.
You know, yesterday they had a birthday cake at the coffee station. I don't know whose birthday cake. It looked like a really good cake. They didn't have a knife.
Yeah, you got to use your fingers.
You had to dig in with your hands to get a lump of cake.
Really?
No, nobody was doing that. That's what I'm saying. So it sat there the whole day.
I mean,
nobody's got a fork or a knife. They just put the cake there. Like, what are we supposed to do with that?
There was a cake down there, and neither one of you told me.
There was a cake down there with no knife, no plates,
Ray would
no
have figured
forks.
it out.
I'll find
Yeah, Ray would have found a way.
Yeah, it was a half a cake.
What?
Yeah, a whole half a cake. A whole half a cake. That's redundant.
A whole half a cake.
All right, what's the text board saying right now?
If Thompson were fired today, I would be fine. I don't suggest that he's responsible for losing. He's not. However, he is too much of a player's manager to turn it around. This team needs a Dallas Green, overturn the table of food, and scorch the paint off the walls. Thompson is incapable of that.
They don't need that. Why do people think they need that? Why do they think that a maniac baseball manager would be able to get performance out of baseball players? Why? It's the exact opposite what you need in baseball clubhouse.
Then why have managers done it in the past?
Like who? Who has been a maniac manager that has won?
Not a maniac.
Who?
Not a maniac.
Who has been a guy in the modern day of baseball? What over the top manager has won?
Well, you're going to the extreme. Right. Like you're saying they have to be these maniacs over the top. You would agree that Charlie Manuel at times would hold players accountable, or sometimes would show.
Yeah, Charlie would,
heat.
but of the winning, what managers are the tough love guys that win in baseball? Go ahead.
Yeah, but
don't but me.
No, because here's the problem.
Tell me what those managers don't win anymore. You can't be a manager who gets down on your players, who yells at your players, who overturns the table. That doesn't work in today's game.
I agree with you to an extent, but I also don't think you have to be as stoic as Rob Thompson has been. There's a middle ground. Maybe not even a middle ground. Maybe even closer to the stoic, calm manager. I'm not saying they have to be the Dallas Greens.
Who are they then? Tell me.
You're telling me that every manager in Major League Baseball, all 29 other managers, are as calm and stoic as Rob Thompson.
That win. Who are the managers that are abrasive? The successful managers. Who are the ones that are abrasive? Aaron Boone is abrasive. What's he won?
Yeah, but once again, that's what I'm telling you. Can you tell me what other managers are exactly like Rob Thompson?
They're all like Rob Thompson.
That don't react at all?
Right. They're all managers that don't get down on their players. They understand that baseball's hard and players don't want you can't get down on players. That makes them lose confidence in themselves. So you stay stoic.
All right. I have been critical of Thompson in the past for this. I don't think he has been stoic this year. He was last night. He should have ran out of the dugout when JT gets rung up in the 7th with a bad call. But he has not been stoic. He's sat Marsh. He's dropped Bohm down in the lineup. He's tried different things. It seems to me like he is holding players a little more accountable. Maybe not publicly. He's still going to say the right thing.
He held Marsh accountable yesterday. How'd that work out? When I was saying, no, not against the right-handed pitcher. Marsh has a chance to get out of against the right-handed pitcher. You play him tonight against the right-hander. If there's a left-hander, you sit him. You're gonna put Rojas in there? That's the alternative that you wanted? You wanted that change?
Marsh needed to sit down, dude. He's 0 for his last 26.
And you don't address the other side of it. With
And I think
Rojas,
Marsh will probably be sad again tonight. So you're going to be upset tonight, too.
610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies lose again. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies fell 10-4 to the Giants last night in the first of a 4-game set against San Francisco. They had a promising start, leading 3-0 after the first inning, but Taijuan Walker allowed 6 runs in the second. Nick Castellanos had a solo shot for the Phillies' sole offensive output after that first inning. Post-game, Rob Thompson was asked about the offensive struggles.
Haven't played our best baseball, that's for sure. And we need to get better, and we will. I mean, we've got a good club, so I'm not sure exactly why, but we haven't hit as much as we normally do, but that will change.
They're back at it tonight against the Giants with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. Justin Verlander going for San Francisco. The Flyers return the ice tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets for their final home game of the season. You catch the game right here on 97.5 to The Fanatic with pregame coverage beginning at 6:30. We're less than 10 days away from the NFL Draft today at 1:30 or around that time. Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni will address the media. We will carry that live for you right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And tomorrow night, our own Andrew DeCecco will host a draft special at 6 o'clock right here on The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by AAA Car Care. Come into your local AAA Car Care center this month and buy 3 select tires. You get the 4th tire free, plus a free alignment. Restrictions apply. See store for details. I'm Ray Dunn, your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
We want to hear from you. Text us. Go ahead, girl. This girl came up with a good band, man. Little Philly girl. Anyway, Mike Missanelli Show. 610-632-0975. We touched on the Eagles and the draft and all that stuff coming up next week. We do have some text regarding the Eagles. Right? What are they saying about the Birds?
Troy in Frankfurt saying there are no needs in the draft, Bill. We need special players. We take them any way we can get them, with the exception of quarterback. Sometimes need a talent line, but if they don't, talent outweighs need every single time.
Under normal circumstances, I would agree, but not this year.
At 32, though. 32, you may want to just go for the best player on the board. You can always use the best player.
I think as long as the best player available falls into a certain position. Like if the best player available at 32 is a running back, would you draft him?
No, not a running back.
All right.
But pretty much anywhere else.
Yeah, I would say I'm eliminating quarterback, running back, wide receiver. I would probably take the best player available at any other position, including offensive line, and then every position on defense. So I agree to an extent. It's just that the best player available thing doesn't always work because it could be a position where you have a luxury. And I think at wide receiver, I know you're saying you could upgrade from Jahan Dotson. I don't think he's as bad as some people are making him out to be. I wouldn't go wide receiver and I wouldn't go running back, and clearly not quarterback. The question that I think we really should be asking ourselves, too, is not best player available or need. It's, does Howie even stay there? Like, does he stay at 32? I could see them moving back. I know a lot of people are excited for him to move up.
Yeah, they got a lot of draft picks. Why wouldn't they move up?
I think he would probably move back. Because what I've read about this draft, and people I've spoken to, including Andrew DeCecco, it doesn't seem to be a very, top-heavy draft. Like, you may be able to get good players in that second round, and if you could accumulate more draft capital, like if somebody really wants to jump in at 32 to take advantage of the fifth-year option, because remember, only first-round draft picks get fifth-year options, you may get somebody who wants to reach for a quarterback that comes back in to get that fifth-year option on a QB. You move down 5-8 slots, but you accumulate a couple more draft picks. I could see Howie doing that.
All right. What else you got, Ray?
I agree completely with Bill. Bill is right about this. They should not address anything offensively. They are stacked there. Instead, use that pick at 32 to go defense.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen, at 32, I'm okay with whoever they take.
Yeah, you look. See, here's the thing, though, that I said on Friday, and I heard the morning show yesterday was doing a segment based off of the question I asked. As much as I love Howie Roseman, and I think he's the greatest general manager, definitely in the NFL, maybe across all sports, when you just look at the numbers, the draft is a crapshoot, Mike, right? Mm-hmm. You look across the NFL, it's hit or miss. It's like 50-50 that you draft a player that you're going to get a good player. And you look at Howie's last 4 drafts, he's hitting every one. 24 was a hit. 23 was a hit. 22, 21. You got to go all the way back to 2020 when he took Jalen Reagor, but he did get hurt that year. But when you just play the law of averages, can we really expect Howie Roseman to go 5 for 5? Like, is he going to have another great draft? So when I look at it and I try to look at it logically, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be a down draft. They're picking the last in every single round. They've gone 4 straight where they've hit it out of the park, all 4. I think we may be a little naive to assume Howie Roseman's going to do it again. That's unheard of in the NFL, to go 5 straight drafts and have a home run every single time.
Yeah. At 32, I don't know. We sit here, we're going, could they get a valuable player at 30? They're probably not. They're probably not going to get a guy that's going to start for them. It'd be maybe a special teams guy or something. I don't know where they would go. Or they stockpile an offensive lineman maybe late in the first round. I'd be okay with that. I mean, I'm okay. Listen, they don't need they need some depth at certain positions. There's no question about it. But to think that they're going to acquire it in this draft when they're picking 32, that's why I think they could move up. They've got enough draft picks to package that and move up a little bit.
If there's a guy there, yeah, that they're targeting. Like, if this Malachi Starks at safety is there and you only have to move up a couple of spots, I wouldn't mind seeing them do that. but they may be able to stay put because it looks like it's an extremely deep draft in terms of defensive linemen. We know how much they love defensive linemen, so they may stay put or even move back a few picks and still get the guy they were targeting all along. There's just so many unknowns because they're picking so far in the draft.
Yeah. So primarily we're talking about the Phillies there, but the women's NBA draft was on last night.
It was.
And the first round pick was Paige Buckers.
Yes. I saw that.
Yes. you did not see that at all. You did not even.
No, I watched it.
Oh,
I watched it. I was tuned in.
There's no way you watched it.
No, I did not.
There's no way you watched it.
I saw it.
Right? Don't lie to me.
I'm not lying, but I saw it on Twitter.
Oh, you saw it on Twitter?
Last night when I'm watching the Phillies game, I saw it on Twitter.
There was a controversial thing that happened last night, which you probably don't know about.
Well, I know when she got picked, her boyfriend was there, right?
No. It has nothing to do with Paige Buckers.
Oh, okay.
It has to do with a woman named Sedona Prince, 6'7" center, skilled player from TCU, was snubbed in the entire draft. She was not taken by any team because multiple women have accused her of sexual assault or abuse in recent months.
Oh, I'm seeing this article now.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Now, she has a lawyer who says Sedona has not been charged with a crime or found guilty of any wrongdoing. Rather, she has been convicted on social media by people who have attempted to use their relationship with Sedona to attract followers and to build their influencer careers and settle grudges. To the extent she has made any mistakes different from other young people in their early dating life, it was solely the decision to be on TikTok. She has over 2.5 million TikTok followers. Snubbed. 6'7". Big center.
I mean, you see this all the time, and we'll probably see.
Have you heard of her, Ray? You do women's college basketball. Have you heard of Sedona Prince?
I have.
Temple play against her or no?
No.
Big time player, right?
Yeah.
Snubbed in the WNBA draft.
Well, I mean, just like any other sport, you got allegations against you.
We'll see it next week, I'm sure. We'll see it next week. I mean, Howie Roseman has come out and said that they've eliminated players from their board who have any issues with domestic violence or anything like that. Like, you see this across the board. It's interesting, though, to see it with the WNBA draft.
A woman who she was in a relationship with claimed that she pushed her off. Sedona Prince pushed her off an ATV while on vacation in Mexico, among other things. That's the Mike Missanelli Show. We're back after this.
Wednesday, April 15th, Tax Day. The Phillies
41, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. So last night, the Phillies game, Giants in the second inning, got the best of Taijuan Walker. Notice that people aren't burying Taijuan Walker today? Have you noticed this?
Yeah, I mean,
Why do you think that is?
Well, a couple reasons.
Because he came back and pitched well after the second inning, after he gave up 6 runs?
Yeah, and I think the bigger focus is on the lack of production with runners in scoring position from your hitters.
The guy gave up 6 runs in the second inning. He gave the lead back. Do you think he should be panned a little bit here? Are we forgetting about Taijuan Walker because he pitched some consecutive scoreless innings? Were we forgetting that he stinks?
So I said last week, Taijuan Walker doesn't need to give me another quality start the rest of the year, and I'm already happy because I got more than I thought I'd ever get from him. Winning the 2 first starts of his season.
You really didn't mean that.
I do mean it.
Oh, come on.
Just get him back to the bullpen soon. Rangers coming back. Ranger Suarez had his rehab start. His velocity was up. I think he threw like 20-something strikes out of 34 pitches.
Let me ask you a question. You really trust Ranger Suarez right now?
If they bring him back, I do, yeah.
You do. You think you're going to trust him that he's going to be hardy for the majority of the season?
Look, his velocity's up. That's all I could base it on. Look, he had the back injury, and if he's okay and he's going through his rehab stint and he comes back, and there's a chance you really only need him probably until June or July if Andrew Painter continues his rehab. I think he touched 100 in his first pitching outing, didn't he? What do you have?
Andrew Painter?
Yeah, I think Painter touched 100. So there's positive signs, and I think people aren't going to get on Walker as much because he did give you 2 quality starts, and he gave you 4 solid innings outside of that bad second.
All right, let's go over the bad second. 1 out double to left field, walks the next guy. Single, 3-1. A chopper, throws it into center field. Wade scores 3-2. Fitzgerald, 3-run homer, makes it 5-3. After a strikeout, Adames home run 6-3. He gave the lead right back.
But really, if he doesn't commit that error, it's a 3-1 game for the Phils going into the third.
Because you think that was a stone double play?
Yeah, I think he would have been able to get him. It's a bad...
Yeah, but the point is his ability did not allow for that to happen. His ability threw the ball into center field. And that opened the floodgates. So,
but if I would have told you...
I don't understand why he's not getting criticized today.
Because people know what he is.
I mean,
people had no expectations for him.
But that hasn't stopped them from criticizing him. He put people at bay because he had a couple of good starts?
If I would have told you before the season, in the first 3 starts for Taijuan Walker, the Phillies would go 2-1. Would you have signed up for that?
Well, I don't care about that. I said I don't play those games. Would you have signed up for that?
But that's why I don't think people are getting on him as much.
I put efficiency on it at every start basis. I don't say, well, because he threw 2 starts, we can't expect him to throw another start. No, I can expect anything I want from him. I can expect a better second inning from him. That's what I can expect.
I know, but I am not going to rip a guy who I had 0 expectations for, who has given you great innings except for one in 3 starts.
You're easily a satisfied person, I'll tell you that.
Well, when your expectations are on the floor with a guy, of course.
All right, in any event, the Phillies had a chance in the 4th. They get 2 on. Kepler singles, Bohm doubles him to third base. Second and third, nobody out. They don't score. Why? Because the man they replaced Marsh with strikes out. And then Stott flies out, and then Turner hits a chopper, and he's meat. Phillies 5th, they climbed it within 1 with the home run by Castellanos. And then in the 6th inning, they get another chance. A leadoff double by Kepler. Bohm moves to the 3rd on the ground out. Should score a run there to chip away. Who's up next? Rojas. Put the ball in play. Put the ball in play. You can't strike out there. He strikes out. Fly out's the 3rd out. Boom. That's it.
Yeah, the fact that there's just a lack of options in center field, it goes back to Dombrowski. I don't know. I was hopeful that maybe Marsh would have shown more this year, and there's still time, I guess, but he looks completely lost.
Yeah.
I mean, you really think Marsh would have given you any more than what you got?
I said I didn't want to bench Marsh last night against that right-handed pitcher. That's not the game I would bench him in because you don't have a better alternative. In fact, you had a worse alternative. He killed you last night. Rojas killed you. Now we go to the 7th inning. Real Muto. Bad strikeout call. with 2 on, 3rd out. Takes his helmet off. He's livid. Doesn't throw the helmet. Doesn't get tossed. Thompson doesn't come out. Nobody got livid after that call, which I do not understand. And I know the majority of the Philly fan base didn't understand. That is a time where you make a statement against an umpire who had been killing you all night.
Yeah, I told you, I don't care. I thought JT's reaction was fine. I just think Rob Thompson's got to come out to his defense there. But you wanted more from JT.
Wanted more from JT. JT, come on, let's go.
Oh, wait,
all right.
Can Kepler play center?
No.
I'm looking at his numbers here.
No.
So Kepler hasn't played center since 2022. He played 3 games. 2021, he played 22 games in center. He did play 60 games in center going back to 2019.
Too big of a guy. He doesn't have great speed either.
Because I'm just thinking, like, what is the alternative? Like, you sit Marsh.
You don't have an alternative for center field. You don't. Well, you want to put Sosa out there, you boy?
No, you can't put Sosa.
Play him all 9 positions one day.
But that's why I'm saying if you put Sosa in left, then you'd have to move Kepler to center. That outfield's terrible as far as your fielding. You got no options. And I know a lot of people want Justin Crawford. I just think it's too soon. You're not going to bring that guy up yet.
Well, you're going to have Weston Wilson be inactivated, so that'll help. There you go.
It still doesn't help you in center.
There's your right-handed. I know it doesn't help you in center.
So now you platoon in left with Kepler and Wilson, but who's your center fielder? It's still either Marsh or Rojas.
Center fielder. This general manager left them adrift when it comes to outfield depth. He just did.
Dude, I asked this question last year after the trade deadline. What has Dombrowski done since he came here that really put this team over the top? Because you look at a majority of this nucleus of these players, they were all already here. Like, Harper was already here.
Yeah.
Romuto was already here.
Who brought Harper here?
Klentak, didn't he?
Yeah, Klentak. Klentak. The late, great Matt Klentak.
And then you had Wheeler was here. Klentak brought in Wheeler too, didn't he?
Yep.
Nola was here. Sanchez and Suarez were already in the organization. So Dombrowski's big moves were he brought Schwarber, right? And he brought Trey Turner. Who signed Castellanos? Was that Klentak as well?
No. That was that would
be Dombrowski.
So Dombrowski did Casty, Turner, Schwarber.
Yeah.
Everybody else was pretty much already here. And I guess you could thank Dombrowski for making the trade for Brandon Marsh, right? That was him.
Dombrowski did a good job with the bullpen last year when he had guys like Hoffman and other guys that produced for him. This year, I don't think he did a very good job with the bullpen. Anyway, the 12 o'clock hour is brought to you by Service First HVAC, offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when purchasing a heating and cooling system. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. We're back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies lose to the Giants. Summary done with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies fell 10-4 last night to San Francisco in the first of a 4-game set. They had a promising start, leading 3-0 after the first inning, but Taijuan Walker allowed 6 runs in the second inning. Castellanos had a solo shot for Phillies' sole offensive output after that first inning. Post-game, Rob Thompson was asked about the offensive struggles.
Haven't played our best baseball, that's for sure. And we need to get better, and we will. I mean, we've got a good club, so I'm not sure exactly why, but we haven't hit as much as we normally do, but that will change.
They're back at it tonight against the Giants with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. Justin Verlander going for San Francisco. Flyers return to the ice tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets for their final home game of the season. You catch the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic with pregame coverage beginning at 6:30. We're less than 10 days away from the NFL Draft, and Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni are scheduled to meet with the media at 1:30 today. We'll carry that live for you here on The Fanatic, and tomorrow night our own Andrew DeCecco will host a draft special at 6 o'clock right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz is hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. I'm Ray Don, your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. I see the Phillies tonight are a large favorite over the Giants because they've got Jesus Luzardo pitching 2-0 with a 1.50 ERA. Minus 165 for your Phillies tonight against Justin Verlander. Let me ask you a question about why do these major league teams keep signing the likes of Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer? Two broken down, finished pitchers.
Yeah.
That's the state of pitching in Major League Baseball. They're so desperate they got to sign these guys.
Yeah, Verlander didn't have a great year last year. I don't know. I mean, I guess when you look at fifth starters, you could probably do a lot worse, I would assume.
You can? Verlander's ERA is almost 7.
I know, and he had 5.48 last year. But, I mean, look, we're rolling out Taijuan Walker last year as our fifth starter. Tyler Phillips, Mitch Abel. You know,
well, they
I don't know.
signed Taijuan Walker, though. It wasn't like they signed a 42-year-old guy hanging on. They signed him because they thought it was going to be a good bargain. Now, it didn't turn out to be, but he was young enough to sign.
I was just going to say, like, why does Verlander even want to keep pitching? Because, I mean, I know he's getting paid, but, I mean, this guy was so dominant going back a few years ago. How he could even be okay with going out there and having close to a 7 ERA.
Baseball's in his blood. He can't give it up. Guys can't give it up.
Just coach.
As long as there's somebody that's willing to sign him. That's who I blame. Guys willing to sign it. Desperate. Oh, yeah, Justin Verlander. Let's bring him in. It's a big name. I don't get it.
Now, you said he's going up against Luzardo, and even though we've been critical of Dombrowski.
Good signing.
Great trade.
So far.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great trade to get Luzardo.
So far, as long as he stays healthy.
Which is the big if.
Yeah.
But if that, I mean, Luzardo right now, you look at your starting rotation, he's your second best pitcher.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, as good as Sanchez is, as good as Nola I still think is, even though people are down on him, Luzardo's your second best pitcher behind him.
No question.
Wheeler.
All right, let's go to the phones. We got Jamie from D.C. checking in. What's up, Jamie?
What's going on, fellas? How's everybody doing?
Good. How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed more than I deserve. How was your trip, Mike? You were away last week.
Yes, the trip was very fruitful and productive and a lot of fun. Hung out at the Masters on Friday. Hung out with some really good friends in Augusta. I went to some restaurants, had some beautiful wines. Beautiful. Nice time.
That's great. And you had a nice weather down there.
The weather was
great. I got to disagree with you. I agree with you on everything except for Sosa in the outfield. I mean, the guy made a great catch in the first game in Atlanta. Mike, you'd asked me if you start him in left. I said no. And you could tell right away, even on pop flies, it's so hard to pick the ball up in the outfield for the Phils. I just think Sosa's an infielder. So, Bill, I agree with you about Nick Sirianni. I love your rap song. But I got to say, I don't think Sosa should be platooning in the outfield.
Yeah, my thing, though, is desperate times call for desperate measures, man. And you look at that outfield right now. What are the answers? What are they going to do?
You got two center fielders that are barely hitting above the Mendoza line. And, I don't know what you do. I don't know if how you even address the outfield. But more importantly, this lineup's not about defense. This lineup's about bats. I know we had a reveal party last night. I think that's fantastic. Bill, you just had a child. It's an exciting time for Bryce and stuff. But these guys with the curveball, it reminds me of Major League when, throw him the fastball and then throw him the curveball, Ricky, But speaking of bats and stuff, how about Pat Burrell? Guy's a hitting coach for a team that puts 10 runs up. Granted, I know Taijuan
they hit a lot of home runs, the Giants. And, that kid that plays second base, I like him a lot. He's got a good swing. Kid from Louisville, University of Louisville, where Ben Davis's kid is hitting home runs.
Oh, is that where Ben Davis's son goes?
Yeah, he's got a lot of home runs already. Big strapping first baseman.
Ben's a big dude.
But, yeah, his kid's just bigger, I think. His kid's a big kid. He was a pitcher and a hitter at Malvern Prep. But now I think he's just I don't think he's pitching it. Anyway, it's 1 o'clock. You're listening to Mike Missanelli Show on WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Let me ask you a question about Bill Belichick to start the 1 o'clock hour, and then we'll get back to the text board and back to our phone calls at 610-622-0975. Bill Belichick is the head football coach at North Carolina. And apparently his girlfriend is intimately involved with the program because Bill has demanded it, or his girlfriend has demanded it, and Bill has given into it. Bill Colarulo, what is your read on this situation with Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend and the nepotism fears that they have at the University of North Carolina with her being involved?
Knowing what I know about Bill Belichick over the years as an NFL head coach, I am blown away and shocked that his girlfriend is roaming the field. Even if she has a role with the North Carolina football program, I've never thought I would see the day where Bill Belichick, the curmudgeon himself, has his girlfriend walking through. I saw the video on Twitter. I couldn't believe it. Walking through spring practice, going up to Belichick and doing. I have no idea what's going on. Well, I kind of know what's going on. But it's very surprising to see Bill Belichick.
I mean, it's humiliating for the guy. I mean, he's so desperately trying to keep this young girl happy. He has asked, by the way, all of the emails to be copied, to ask her to be copied on all the emails sent to him by the North Carolina administration.
Yeah, I saw that before. So what's her title with UNC? Like, what is she?
I don't think she has the title.
She's not involved. I thought that she had some sort of job there. Ray, am I wrong on this? Didn't they hire her to do something?
There were people speculating she has some role in whatever docu-series they might be doing on UNC. I saw that on Twitter. I don't think she has an actual official title there.
It's also like...
He hired his son, too.
Well, that's fine.
As the defensive coordinator.
His son was with him in New England.
See what his son looks like?
Is he the one that has the mullet? I think he had a mullet at New England.
He's balding and he's got the mullet and he's heavy. He's a heavier man.
But I mean, like even the outfit that she's rocking on the sidelines of spring practice. She's got on the white high-heeled boots, a snakeskin jacket with a matching skirt. I could never have imagined that any coach, let alone Bill Belichick, would have his girlfriend roaming the field during practice.
It is a classic midlife crisis, but he's beyond midlife. Don't you think?
72. I don't know. I'm still surprised he even went back to the college ranks.
Well, I think he did because he had nothing else.
Yeah, but you're 72 years old.
You don't want to stand on the sidelines anymore. He wanted to feel important, at least doing something.
Yeah, very, very strange, Ray.
Yeah.
Ray, what's your take on this whole thing?
Very strange.
She's your age, right?
Yeah, she is literally my age, which is absurd. This whole storyline with him is absurd. And, like, I can only imagine the, like, Gronk, Edelman, Brady group chat.
Oh, yeah, they have to be loving this.
Especially Gronk. Because, you know, Gronk was the party guy of the group. And to see that it turns out Belichick ends up with a woman in her 20s has to be all-time humor fuel for those guys right now. Like I can't believe we're talking about the same Bill Belichick that existed in New England, and this is the sideshow to his UNC. Honestly, this is right now for a lot of people. This is more the show about Belichick than the coaching. People talk way more about the fact that he's dating a 24-year-old woman than he's coaching UNC.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation. It really is. But you know, it's laughable to me that she's on the football field. She's got an important role. She's serving as his de facto agent. More or less. Good for her. You know, I don't know.
It makes it just crazier that it's
listen,
him. Of all people, him.
He likes the girl. He makes him feel good. I got no problem with that. The age difference is substantial. But what is her motivation? Like, what does she want out of this?
Maybe he's got a great personality.
I don't know. Maybe he does. But what does she want out of this? Is she using this as a step ladder to stardom somehow? She is definitely using him. There can't be a mutual sexual attraction or maybe even an intellectual attraction because she doesn't know anything yet at age 24.
Apparently they've been together
3 lives already.
They've been together for 4 years now.
Oh, so when she was 20, he started dating her?
So it says the pair met aboard a flight in 2021 when Belichick signed her deductive logic textbook. So I don't know if they started dating.
Oh, my God. He signed her textbook? She was in school?
Signed her textbook, and then it says recently, in February, she wrote on Instagram, "Happy meetiversary at Bill Belichick. Cheers to the fact that you still let me give you lengthy philosophical lectures 4 years later."
Well, maybe she is intellectually gifted, and maybe she's more intellectually gifted than he is. I'm just saying the life experience that he's lived, like what could they possibly talk about that they would have common ground on?
I don't know. I mean, Ray, what's the oldest? What's the oldest that you've ever dated? What was always the oldest age gap for you since you're 24?
Thanks. Let's turn this into about me.
Have you ever gone
We
to?
got Bill Belichick on the
Is
grill.
72 too old for you?
72 is too old for me. I will say to our 72-year-old listeners, if you were thinking about it, it's not going to happen with me.
He's
60 too old.
60 also too old.
All right, 50.
Still too
close. 40s.
Well, we got to see what's out there, all right? We got to see what's out. I'll say that the oldest I've been out on a date is still someone in their 20s. It's 28, I believe, is the oldest I've been on a date with.
Almost 50 years older than she is.
I couldn't. Yeah, I mean, look, I was single a few years ago, so I'm in my late 30s. I don't think I could have dated a girl in her 20s. I just don't think we would have had, like, that young. I don't know if we would have had anything in common. I couldn't imagine being 72 with a 24-year-old.
I also, listen, I don't want to be graphic here, but her needs probably way outweigh his needs. Do you think?
Well, I mean, modern technology.
No, but modern technology sometimes doesn't work.
Dr. Avidan Appel, Iron Mountain Men's Health. Right?
Listen, Bill, I don't know. Mike Missanelli Show. I'm speechless. We're back after this.
ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Outside of maybe the Chiefs, they've been
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. At 1:30, you will be hearing from Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni. I hope I didn't bury that lead. We should have talked about that a little earlier. But at 1:30, they're both coming on, not directly, but there'll be a presser with both of those gentlemen talking about the draft and some other things, I guess, right? They won't get any answers, but they're going to be speaking.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is this usually – they usually speak right before the draft, I think. I wouldn't expect a lot of information today. I would think it's more disinformation, trying to throw people off the scent of where they're going. But when you're picking 32, I guess you're not as concerned.
Yeah,
about
well, anyway,
that.
we'll have it on for you at 1:30. Some other things today, speaking of burying a lead, I got to get into the story. Ray just sent it to me. Yesterday, I had showed you guys in the office. It was a Twitter video of an old show. It was an old TV show, black and white TV show in the 50s, 1956, called I Got a Secret. So they would bring on a guest, the host would bring on a guest, and then they had a panel who would have to guess the guy's secret. Well, in this particular day, the guy's secret was he was the last surviving witness to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
That's wild.
So the guy had to be in his late 90s because it was in 1965 in Lincoln. Today is the anniversary, the 165th anniversary of the assassination of President Lincoln. Were you aware of that, Bill?
I was not.
And let me go even further here. The AP, the Associated Press story, April 14th, that had the news story of Lincoln getting shot. Would you like me to read it to you?
Sure.
All right. Now, they call the lead. The first paragraph really is where you should tell the story, right?
Yep.
All right, let me read the first paragraph to you. President Lincoln and his wife visited Ford's Theater this evening for the purpose of witnessing the performance of The American Cousin. It was announced in the papers that General Grant would also be present, but that gentleman took the late train of cars for New Jersey. The theater, second paragraph. The theater was densely crowded, and everyone seemed delighted with the scene before them. During the third act, and while there was a temporary pause for one of the actors to enter, a sharp report of a pistol was heard, which merely attracted attention but suggested nothing serious until a man rushed to the front of the president's box, waving his long dagger in his right hand, exclaiming, "Sic semper tyrannis," and immediately leapt from the box, which was in the second tier, to the stage beneath and ran across to the opposite side, made his escape amid the bewilderment of the audience from the rear of the theater, and mounted a horse and fled. There's no mention that Lincoln got shot yet. Third paragraph. The groans of Mrs. Lincoln first disclosed the fact that the president had been shot when all present rose to their feet, rushing towards the stage, many exclaiming, "Hang him, hang him." The excitement was of the wildest possible description.
Maybe there was different journalistic rules back then.
I can't believe it. There are different journalistic rules?
Maybe.
I remember my first journalism class, right? It was news writing. You got a bunch of facts in a paper, they throw it to you. You had to write the story. Now, you had to get the lead right. Now, we didn't know much about the lead back then. So I wrote this my story, and I got it, boom, F. I go, F. He goes, "You missed the lead." Automatic F. If you turn that into an editor, they'd throw it right back to you and say, "Redo it."
What?
I got an F.
And what paper was that? What was it called?
The Associated Press story. So it was the story that goes out to every paper.
With no lead for 4 paragraphs. You didn't know that Lincoln was shot for 4 paragraphs?
The third paragraph, the groans of Mrs. Lincoln first disclosed the fact that the president had been shot. It said nothing about him being assassinated.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still don't know that he's dead. It's 4 paragraphs into the story.
Man, 160 years ago, Mike. I can't believe that.
It really is, man. You know, Lincoln I consider one of the 5 greatest men ever on my list of great men.
Did you like the movie Lincoln that Daniel Day-Lewis did?
Yes, I did. It was long.
Little boring.
It was
at times.
really long and boring, but I love that kind of history.
When I was in 4th grade, was the first time I was exposed to being an attorney, we did a trial. We did a mock trial, and I played Dr. Mudd. Do you know the connection?
No, it's Dr. Mudd.
You being serious?
Yeah, it's Dr. Mudd.
You've heard the saying, his name is Mudd.
Yeah.
Dr. Mudd was accused of being an accomplice to John Wilkes Booth. And Dr.
Really?
Mudd went to prison for life.
But it was I thought it was the woman that harbored him that went to prison for life.
I think they both did.
Okay.
But Samuel Mudd, who was the doc.
His name is Mudd. That's where that comes from.
Correct.
You're on top.
I don't usually teach Mike anything.
Yeah, you got me there. That's nice. I know it was the woman. I forget what her name is. Who was involved in the conspiracy. They said many said she was wrongfully convicted.
Was it Spangler? No, wait.
know.
There was Mudd, O'Laughlin, Arnold, and Spangler were all in prison for conspiring.
Yeah, it was the woman. There was one woman in there. I don't know her. I forgot her name. All right, 610-622-0975. We'll get back to the text board. We get your calls in if you want to call in. We got time for you right now. It's Mike Missanelli Show continuing.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies fall to the Giants. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. The Phillies fell 10-4 to the Giants last night in the first of a four-game set against San Francisco. They had a promising start, leading 3-0 after the first inning, but Taijuan Walker allowed 6 runs in the second inning. Nick Castellanos had a solo shot for the Phillies' sole offensive output after the first inning. Post-game, Rob Thompson was asked about the offensive struggles.
Haven't played our best baseball, that's for sure. And we need to get better, and we will. I mean, we've got a good club, so I'm not sure exactly why, but we haven't hit as much as we normally do, but that will change.
They're back at it tonight against the Giants with Jesus Luzardo on the mound and Justin Verlander going for San Francisco. The Flyers return to the ice tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets for their final home game of the season. You can catch the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic with pregame coverage beginning at 6:30. We're less than 10 days away from the NFL Draft, and tomorrow night our very own Andrew DeCecco will host a draft special at 6 o'clock right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up next, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni addressing the media around 1:30-ish. We'll carry it live for you. This update is brought to you by True Green. True Green, get a golf course quality lawn for less than you think. Sign up at truegreen.com. That's TRUgreen.com. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. I'm Ray Dunn, your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hall of Fame baseball.
And one thing we didn't touch on today was the gender reveal bat that happened last night, where Bryce Harper found out that his next child, his wife's pregnant, his next child, their fourth child, I believe, will be a boy. Trey Turner gave him a blue bat after first giving him a pink bat, saying "sap," and then gave him the blue bat, which he hit with first time up.
He did. Well, I don't think he got a hit on the first at bat, but yes, he came to the plate with the blue bat. So they asked Turner about it after the game. Apparently, Harper ordered a blue and a pink bat. Turner got a text message before the game telling him it was a boy, and then he messed with him, in the clubhouse and all. Very happy for Bryce and his family. I'll leave it at that.
No, let's expand upon this. I maybe I'm old school. I don't believe when a ball game starts, it's the ball game. Okay, this is serious. The game you want to win a game against a pretty good team. You're a home crowd. Is it time to be thinking about the gender reveal?
No.
Is that what you wanted to say?
Yeah, it's just. Look, you're right. There's a time and a place, and it's in a very exciting time. I mean, it's great for him and his family. They're having their fourth child, amazing, his second son. Love it all. I don't need that during the game. Maybe I am being like, maybe you're rubbing off on me here, Mike. Maybe we're too much.
Ball game. Listen, it's a ball game now. Okay, I get it. You can have a gender reveal in 100 different ways. Does it have to be at the game? Like you got, this is your job. You're going to work here.
Yeah. I know baseball's different. Like, I don't think you would have done this in any other sport. So baseball, you can mess around a little bit more. There's a lot of fun in the clubhouse and all. But I don't know. Maybe it's because we're older, right? Like, did you think it was fun and or do you think there's time and place?
So fun, so quirky. I loved it. I didn't really care. I honestly didn't know what was happening. I was like, oh, look, he's got a new bat. And then it was explained to me later because I didn't have the sound on the broadcast up because I was out for
listen, it. Maybe that jacks him up. Maybe he's all excited and makes him a better hitter. Who knows?
Yeah, and I think it was nobody knew, right? Like his family.
Announcers know? Did the announcers say it?
They said it, but I'm saying I don't think his family knew if it was a boy or girl either. So when he comes to the plate with it, they see it, and it's this whole fun thing. Yeah,
I missed his first at bat, so I didn't really catch on with that one.
Now, what if he would have hit a home run with the bat?
Well, then that would have been an amazing story.
Yeah, that'd have been like, oh my God, he's always got to use the blue bat.
Yeah, look how clutch he is. You come up with that bat after the fanfare and the emotions, and boom, it's a home run. It fueled him, but it didn't fuel him.
It did not. He actually struck out swinging.
Struck out
on 4 pitches.
All right. Well,
so hopefully he'll never use the bat.
Listen, times have changed, man. He wears Fanatic spikes. He got a Fanatic tattoo. He's got the bandana. Yeah, if he wants to have fun by doing it that way, then fine. Who am I? I'm just a little more baseball, old-fashioned oriented.
Talking about the Fanatic stuff, I saw circulating on Twitter, and I think it was the Braves series, where the announcer says, "Oh, and he's wearing Oscar the Grouch on his hand." Did you see that?
He didn't know.
Come on, man. You don't have to be a Philadelphia guy to know the difference between Oscar the Grouch and the Philly Fanatic.
No, that's ridiculous. All right. Anyway, we're expecting Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman to take questions about the draft coming up. So we'll just hang on. Ray, I know you don't like tardiness, but why are they supposed to?
I don't like tardiness.
Are they supposed to come on exactly 1:30?
1:30. 1:30 was when it was said.
Well, it is 1:30 now, so we'll just kind of hang out until they get to the podium.
Now, this is a joint press conference with the both of them?
This is a joint press conference with both of them, allegedly.
Right. So Howie will probably do most of the talking because it'll be draft-related, but I am curious. I think you mentioned this, Ray, as you were walking into the studio. Are they going to follow up on when's the contract extension coming?
Feels like a question that should be asked.
That's what I'd like to know. I mean, what's the holdup here with the contract?
I don't know. It's good, get some, little clauses they want in there.
Think it's years or dollars?
I don't know. I have no idea. That's your boy. You should be on the inside. What would you ask for if you're Nick Sirianni?
I would want to be the second highest paid coach in the NFL.
You would?
Yeah.
Behind
Andy Reid.
Behind Andy Reid.
Yeah, because Andy Reid gets $20 million a year, and then I think the second highest paid coach is like 17 or 18. That's what he should get.
17 or 18.
Yeah, I'm looking here. So he's got Reid makes 20, Sean Payton makes 18, Mike Tomlin and Jim Harbaugh both make 16.
6-year contract?
Now, I would give him a 4-year extension.
4-year extension.
5 years then total.
Uh-huh.
And I'd give him $18 million a year. Would you do it?
Yes, he's earned the right at this point.
Now, what if
he won a Super Bowl?
We were talking about this last week a little bit. Dougie P lasted 3 years after he won his Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So if things went downhill, which I'm not expecting him to do, in 3 years, that would mean you'd still owe Sirianni, if you're Jeffrey Lurie, $36 million if you give him 18 a year. Probably a little more reluctant to move on from him.
I guess.
You'd do it, though.
Yeah. I would do it. He's got clout.
Man, what a 180 Nick Sirianni pulled on most of the people in this town.
I'm going to say no. He won a Super Bowl.
So then what's the hold up?
I don't know. His agent wants more little clauses in there. He wants a private jet, maybe. Yeah, he wants a membership to a golf club. I don't know.
Maybe the Trout National down in Millville.
Maybe that's it.
$150K buy-in.
Maybe.
For every minute he's late, I'm taking off $500,000.
This is how do you know it's not Howie? Mike's struggling over here, too. He's got something in his throat.
I got something in my throat. I'll tell you what I'm going to have to do, Bill. I'm going to have to get some water. So you filibuster until those guys come up, all right?
I'll do my best. I will do my best.
Just hit the Sirianni love thing, let you go.
Now, I am going to probably have to write a Sirianni rap song if he gets the contract extension. But I am curious what the holdup is, because everyone agrees, and Lurie said it at the press conference when he spoke at the owners' meeting, like Sirianni's going to be our coach. So what could potentially be the holdup? Years? Dollars? There's no dispute that they're going to give it to him. So I'm a little surprised we haven't gotten that announcement yet. But hopefully they ask that today. But I think Howie's going to do a lot of misinformation today. You're not going to give much away on the week before the NFL draft.
How many times does he use the phrase best available?
I don't know if he'll even say it. I think you may just get, we're going to have our board and we'll do our analysis and our scouts put in a lot of work and yada, yada. I think you're going to get a lot of misinformation.
So how's this going to work? Is this going to bleed into to our next show?
No, we were planning to cut away from
this
press conference when it happens.
Okay,
So
we're going to be cutting away.
that's why we cut a little bit.
Yeah, so hopefully they join us soon so we can get the most knowledge possible before we have to cut away from them.
All right, while we're waiting on that, we got a baseball game tonight. You said the Phillies are favored. I got him at minus 162 with Luzardo on the mound. They get back in the winning column tonight?
Yeah, I think they win tonight.
I agree with you. I think they bounce back big tonight.
We don't have a lineup yet, so who will be playing in center field?
No lineup, but you got a right-hander on the mound. So I'm curious if they're going to have Stott lead off again. Do they go with the same lineup, or do they put Schwarber back at the top?
I think Schwarber gets the shot tonight.
So you'll have either Schwarber there, and then who's your cleanup? Is it Casty?
Probably.
So you going Schwarber?
Why not? Keep the same lineup. Keep Stott there. Keep Stott there. Keep Schwarber in the 4-hole.
Trying to protect Harper a little bit. And then is Marsh on the bench tonight? It sounded like he wants to go 3 games with Marsh on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the need for that, but okay.
That means your buddy Rojas is back.
Yeah, he's back in there against the right-hander. He'll try to bunt 3 times.
Honestly, when there was runners on second and third with 1 out, I thought he was going to bunt. I would have preferred that. At least you would have had a shot at a little suicide squeeze than him striking out.
You would have squeezed with 2 runners in scoring position?
Maybe better than what he gave you.
Wow.
Or what about in the 6th when you got a guy on? What was there a guy on third? 1 out.
Hoping that he gets a hit there. You don't have to give up an out. He gets a hit, 2 runs score. If there's just a guy on third, 1 out, maybe you squeeze him.
Yeah, that would have been the 6th.
But you're behind in the game, so you need all the runs you can. You can't play for 1 run.
Yeah, but if you runners on second and third, no outs. If Rojas bunts there, I know it's unconventional.
You're giving up an out.
If he bunts there, you got a man on third. It's a 6-4 game with 1 out.
You're presuming that you're going to safety squeeze him, or are you going to suicide squeeze him?
Even if it's a suicide squeeze and Rojas gets thrown out, you'd have a runner on third, 1 out, and a 6-4
Suppose
game.
he doesn't get the bunt down on a suicide squeeze, and you're in second and third, and you just screwed up your whole inning. You can't suicide.
Suppose he
squeeze
strikes
there.
out.
Well,
that's exactly what he did.
But you're not.
I think he's got a better shot at bunting than swinging.
A bunt could go bad 100 different ways. At least you got 3 strikes to try to get a hit. If you're going to bunt and you mess it up, then and you miss the ball, that's an out. You've just given them an out at the plate, and now you have a runner in third base with 2 outs, which is irrelevant.
Or you lay it down to third base line, and Rojas either beats it out, or worst case scenario, you got to run
if
score.
If he can lay it down. Suicide squeezes are tough, though, because you got to disguise it.
I just think it gives you a better chance.
Safety squeeze, I can get it. Second and third safety squeeze where you square around, you got time to put the bat on the ball, so you give up an out for a run. But you're still behind in that situation. He gets a base hit, then you close the gap.
Yeah, and I guess with Stott and Turner coming up after him, it didn't matter anyway. They didn't do anything.
All right. You going to take a break here or no? No, we're just going to wait for him?
We got nothing in that regard left.
Unbelievable.
Because we planned for these guys.
1:30, supposed to be 1:30. Let the people hear these guys. They don't give a crap. It's their timetable.
They love it. They like messing.
They really do. They like messing with everybody, especially with radio stations. Writers don't care. They're there to get another sandwich. go get a snack. Go get a Coke. Whatever they get.
All right. Well, we'll make some predictions. You got the Phils winning tonight.
The Phils win easy.
I'm looking at.
In fact, I'm going to bet them right now.
I'm also going to say
Take the Phils?
That not only do they win tonight, I started the show by saying Harper needs to be better. The last time I did that, I believe he hit 3 home runs in the same game.
Yes.
I was on the air. I was talking about Harper needed to be better, and then boom. And Tommy Alvord was producing. He kept running in to tell me he hit another one. He hit another one. Harper's going yard tonight because I questioned them this morning.
Coming off a couple losses, Masters losses, so I need something here tonight.
Yeah, go with Luzardo tonight. What is the over on his strikeouts? Let's see. Because he's going to, he donates $100 for every strikeout. See, making a big deal about that.
Yeah. I love hanging you out to dry.
I'm looking to see how many What's the over on his strikeouts for tonight?
Oh, you over under?
Hold on.
What is it?
No, because all I got is he's minus 200 for 6+.
We got him on the podium, Bill. So hold that thought. Here we go. Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman.
What? To change whatever your answer to what I want.
Is today any different than any other day? Okay.
Howie, obviously you guys have made more trades than anybody over the years. What went into, how did you kind of realize the value of trades? At what point, where did that come from? And just kind of what they enable you to do?
When maybe that's the example of being an outsider and looking at the league. When I was studying it before I got into the league, and then coming into the league and understanding that there was opportunities to maybe get aggressive. With that also comes risks, right? All those moves don't always work out, and it's probably more conservative to just stand pat. Stay where you are, whether it's with players on your team or during the draft, and kind of see what comes to you. When you trade up in a draft, you got to deal with the consequences of who ends up being there with the slot you move out on. And sometimes you say, man, I could have sat there and got this player. And so you have to deal with that too. For me, I think that being aggressive has always been part of my DNA, and feel fortunate that I have people around me who support that, Coach, Jeffrey, and it allows us to take chances and to try to be aggressive.
How would you think there's a chance for you guys to get first-round talent, considering where you're picking from, and whether it's someone maybe drops for whatever reason off the field, or whatever concerns there might be about that? Do you think you guys have the ability to get first-round talent?
The way we go into looking in the draft is we always take worst-case scenario and work back from that. And we got to be really comfortable with whatever is our worst case scenario, which will always entail getting a good player. There's never 32 first round grades on our board. We don't have 32 first round grades in this draft. So obviously it depends on how things go. You go through a lot of hypotheticals. You try to put yourself in any possible position so that you're ready to execute. Just even looking at last year, the guys that we thought were most realistic being available at 22. We feel like we got fortunate to get one of the guys that we didn't have in a lot of the scenarios. So, luck plays a part in it. Obviously, everyone's looking at things differently. Everyone has a different vision for what they're looking for their team. Everyone has a different vision for the particular players that they're looking at, and you just hope that, kind of makes sense for your football team.
You were talking about trades. This is the first time since the merger that nobody's traded out of the first round yet. Does that tell you anything? You've been doing this for a long time. Does that give you a hint about the draft class or anything of that nature?
No, a lot of those trades happened the year before, so they really talk about last year's draft class. A lot of the times when you're trading a future first-round pick, you're doing it the year prior, so those teams are getting those, and usually that happens for quarterbacks. So I think it more talks about last year's draft class and how 6 quarterbacks went in, I think the first 12 picks. And a lot of times that you'll have some teams that will move in from the late teens or the 20s, and the way to do that is trade a future first. So that's normally how that occurs. I think that a lot of the trades that happen for jockeying position on draft day are closer, unless it's the first pick, are closer to the draft or during the draft because you don't know where guys go.
Howard, at this time last year, we were actually talking a couple hours before with Devontae Smith with his extension, and that had come a couple of weeks before the 5th-year option deadline. With Jordan Davis, unless there's any news on him, just what makes the differences between those two situations, and how influential will the draft be in your decision on whether to pick up his option?
Yeah, just to be consistent, we're not going to talk about any particular player in their contract situations. I would have to go back and look at what you're saying there. I'm probably not educated enough right now to talk about specifically how that worked with Devontae, but at the time, obviously, we were nearing completion on Devontae's extension. I don't know the timing of it. Did we exercise the option at the same time that we executed the extension, which I think we did, but I'd probably have to look that and get back to you on that.
What are the value of the top 10 positions for you? How predictive have you found them to be? And was there a point earlier in your career where you were using them more, I don't want to say subterfuge, but to kind of throw teams off?
Yeah, don't say subterfuge because then I'm going to have Nick look it up on his phone when you don't ask him questions. I think that we have changed a little bit in how we approach the top 30, and like everything, it's an information gathering process for us. The whole draft process is gathering information, constantly gathering information. Nick and I are on the phone all the time talking to people that we know in college football, trying to get to know these guys as well as we can so we can make good decisions. So for us, it's really just trying to fill in a lot of the blanks. And the more we get to know people, the more that we expose them to not only us, but people around us, the better we get a feel for them. So we think they're incredibly valuable for us. Obviously everyone's got their own way of looking at things. But at the same time, we only have 30 of them. So we got to do more work on a lot more guys in this draft than just the 30 guys that come here. But we like that process, and we really like involving everyone in the building. We have a really good building. We have really good people who have good instincts on people, good instincts in their field, and being able to utilize those people in our building, see how they operate with the people that they would have to be dealing with every day, we think is a valuable part of the process.
With the unsettled nature with Dallas Goedert right now, how does that affect the approach at that position going into the draft?
The way we look at the draft is it's a separate entity to anything else that's going on. We got to make good decisions in the draft based on who the players are that are available in the draft. We can't make up any positions and make them better than they're not. We have to really have a true process. So it really doesn't affect us. We try to do as much as we can at any position in free agency to try to make sure that we're not in a position where there is needs. Of course, we're not a perfect team, and there's always going to be areas that we're looking to improve. And, honestly, that's going to happen even the day after the draft. We're going to continue to have areas that when we look at our depth chart, we'll go, man, it would be great to add a player here. So the player acquisition period, this is a huge part of it, but it's certainly not the end.
You said in a podcast not long ago that drafting or bringing in a player who had committed violence against women was a non-starter for you guys. What's the standard by which you judge that? And what I mean is, a player could be accused, a player could be charged, have charges dismissed, could have pleaded out, something. What's the standard that you use to judge that?
Yeah, I learned a lot about podcasts here in the last couple of weeks. I guess they can take parts of the podcast and use them and actually publicize them. Welcome to 2025, Howie Roseman. So I think that we have a process. We have an objective process that we use. We live in a country where you're innocent until proven guilty. And so we try to abide by the judicial process. But I think, to get in kind of the details of what we do, that's part of our internal dynamics that I probably wouldn't want to get into, but certainly we try to not make it subjective is basically what I would say, so that we get in a situation where if we really like a player, we can make excuses for that player. So we try to have objective criteria when it comes to the issues that you're asking me about. But it is important to us, the people that we bring in this building, and that we know we can win with really good people, and we also know that young people make mistakes in other areas. But that was one that was, on my heart when I was talking about it, and something that we believe in as an organization.
So Howard, is it a situation where you have this process and you, I guess, apply it on a case-by-case basis, and then kind of weigh that criteria for each individual player?
Yeah, try to make it as objective as possible, so that we're not getting into the specifics of each incident.
You guys have stockpiled a number of picks. I think you have 20 between this year and next year. I was just kind of like, what is the value of having all those picks besides obviously having more picks? I mean, see them as trade material, just kind
keep going. Keep going. Everything you'll say, I'll say yes to. Picks are valuable, and you can use them to obviously pick players. You can use them to trade for players. You can package them to move up in the draft. The more picks that you take, the better chance you have on hitting on players. So where we are right now, we have a lot of good players that have earned their paychecks. We have others coming up through that will be in position to earn paychecks. And so we want to get as many young, talented players on this roster as we can to add competition, which is one of Coach's core values, and also because of the financial situation that we're going to have going forward in our effort to try to win another championship for the city.
You're watching a tight end tape. What are characteristics you think in a tight end are important to translate to success in the NFL? What are some characteristics you really like in the tight end position for your team?
Yeah, that's a good question, Elliot. A lot of things play into it. Obviously, when you're watching, it always starts with talent. But what I've come to just be fascinated about are all the things that play into, and all the things that Howie and his staff look at when drafting players. I mean, they put so much stock into there's so many different things to put stock into: the player's football IQ, the player's mental, the player's health, the players. I mean, the list goes on, and it's just a awesome process that so many people are involved in. As far as just the tight end itself, you're always looking for. You naturally are going to start with. It's kind of like the receiver room. It takes, you don't have to have one guy that fits all, right? You can use different pieces of a guy to help accomplish the job, whether that is in the pass game with speed or change of direction or the ability with the ball in his hand. So again, you're just trying to fill all the spots that you would use for a tight end. But then sometimes you get a tight end that is unique, and you haven't used certain things with that tight end before, but you're like, well, this guy can do some receiver stuff or running back stuff or whatever it is. So our job as coaches is to take the players that we have, the talented players that we have, and find ways that make it work. But naturally, I always will start with their targets and the things that the balls that went their way throughout a game, and you're always looking for. I mean, anytime I'm writing reports, it feels like I say big, strong, fast, physical, tough usually succeeds. And that's pretty much the case with every position. So looking for a lot of different things. but always looking for a guy that can make plays with the ball in his hand, and then have the ability to not, first of all, be a factor in the run game and helping you out in the run game, which is one of the harder matchups in the NFL, right? A defensive end versus a tight end. And there's other ways around that, and then not a liability in the run game also.
Howie, sort of along those lines, I think you've drafted just the one tight end since you took Dallas in 2018. What's your evaluation of that position relative to the draft, and how deep of a class of tight ends do you think this is?
Yeah, I think for us, been very fortunate to have the caliber of tight end play that we've had here. When I first became GM, Brent Selleck, obviously unbelievable player, then to Zach Ertz, then to Dallas Goedert. Three really unbelievable players and people that we've had here. So we've been very fortunate with the caliber of tight end play. I mean, you mentioned Grant, and obviously we all see the strides that he took last year as well. And so, it's got to be based on the board that we have and the value in the draft. And, we'll stack it based on not needs, but based on the value of the players in this draft and this class. And, certainly when we talk about how the class looks, it all depends on who's there when you're picking. So we've been in situations where we think it's a really good class at a certain position, and then, when we're picking, it just hasn't worked out that the caliber of players met the value of the pick. So I think that's how we kind of judge the class is wherever we're picking, what's the caliber of player at that point in time.
With more transfers in the college game, how has that changed the evaluation process for you guys and looking into that?
Information gathering is a huge part of what we do, and knowing the person as well as the player is the seesaw that we're trying to balance. And when they go into the transfer portal and they're at schools for a shorter period of time, and it's easier for them over that short period of time to put out their best foot forward. And so our scouts do a huge job all the time about knowing the player and knowing the person. And for us, we'll get a lot of eyes on the player, but we're not fortunate enough to step on many college campuses during the fall. And so we really rely on those guys, and they do a tremendous job of gathering information on the person and the fit for us. And again, there's a lot of flavors that go on in the National Football League, and we just want the right fits for the Philadelphia Eagles. There are going to be a lot of good players drafted by a lot of teams that aren't going to come to Philadelphia, and we just got to make sure that the people we bring in are the right players for us.
Howie, how much has the interior defensive line position changed since you started doing that, as far as the skill set these guys have coming out and just the value of that spot?
Yeah, I've been here long enough to been around a bunch of first-round picks in Philadelphia, defensive tackles, and obviously interior pass rush is a huge deal in the National Football League. Getting quick pressure on quarterbacks is a huge deal, and I think you've seen our resources shift that way a little bit here in the last few years because that's the quickest way to really get pressure, and you want both. We've been fortunate to have both for a long period of time, but you got to continue to refresh those positions and continue to build depths along both your lines. So I think for us, we feel like having good players at those positions, and obviously we have a bunch returning on our roster that we're excited about, but those are huge spots for us to continue to grow, and the best place to find them is in the draft. Those markets are expensive when you get into free agency.
How would you return to fifth-year options? If I'm not mistaken, I think you did use it in the extension with Devontae, but just in a general sense, you got probably 4 guys, first-rounders, that would be up for that kind of. How do you see the fifth-year option as a tool in team building?
Well, it's only a tool if the player's a good player. And so at the end of the day, it goes back to making the right picks and picking the right person and the right player and ensuring that we have the right process to do that. And that's the work that we're doing now that we've been doing for a long time here. You need a little luck that players that are good people and players fall to you in the draft. And so when those things combine, that gives you an opportunity to keep guys on your team for the long term.
All right, that'll do it. You just heard Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman lay out some, general stuff about the draft. We'll pay attention to that more next week. Thanks for listening, everybody, and calling and texting. And have a great rest of the night. Talk to you tomorrow.